Hello, Love Wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Can we start off with the biggest news of the week? The Rats lost! If you got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey!
The man with the finest beard on this screen.
Canadian men, boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
And listen between two beers.
Hello, Love
Oh,
Wrestling.
shit.
It is 8 p.m. You ever read
Nope.
Rey Mysterio over there?
No,
How
no.
dare you interrupt
No, we have
my
a show.
intro.
I'm sorry. Hi. Go on.
It is
Start over.
Thursday night.
Reroll the credits.
No, we're not doing this.
Okay.
It is 8 p.m. What show? I don't even know what we're doing anymore. It's Between Two Beards.
Is it?
Pluggo.
You're supposed to say,
Pluggo
and you
B,
know
man.
what that
You can't be
means.
doing that
And then
off the
I
jump.
go, and then I go. You tell them what it
So
means.
It's okay. We've only been doing this 144 times. I mean, we're new.
144
We'll
times.
get in the groove, and we'll figure it out someday.
But
Someday.
fun fact, Joseph
Yeah.
Wittett's already in the house. Omar's in the house. Dustin's in the house. What's good? Get your comments in. Get your statements on the air. Shout out to Twitterland or X or whatever you call it. We're simulcasting today on both. Surprise.
Yeah, we are trying it out, seeing how that goes for us. So if you are here, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe, hit the bell for notifications on YouTube. If you want to send in a super chat, it does help the staff here, and it helps keep Love Wrestling able to do these
Helps
things.
fill
that
the
we
swear
do, so
jar.
feel free. Yeah, it helps with the swear jar after we get past the 10-minute mark, because your boy over here sometimes
It's
gets
got
angry.
some things.
Yeah, I do. But
Some things.
we had a big one tonight, Pluggo.
I know, but before we do this, before we bring on our killer guest,
Oh,
MRB, I'm rocking Taryn from Accounting shirt, Clandestine Society. Please forgive me. Don't hate
Yeah,
me.
he yelled at you, huh?
He did. He yelled at me
How'd that
last
feel?
week.
Was that
It was rough, man.
I was watching that and I
couldn't even like, you couldn't get the intro out today. I couldn't get the intro out on the LPW show, which will probably be dropping sometime soon. Wait to see it. He yelled at me for a good 12 minutes.
I saw the cut of it and I was like, ooh, Pluggo took a beating.
Yeah, I
Pluggo
took a whooping.
Good Lord.
I took a whooping.
Right.
But enough of
But
that.
it's-
It was
yeah,
a
do it,
massive.
Pluggo.
It was
Let's
a
bring our
massive
chance
week.
on here.
It was AEW Revolution. Big business is next week. Dynamite last night absolutely hummed. So I had to get some reinforcements because, sometimes your boy Pluggo just can't keep it all straight. So Tanner Lee of the Kicking Out podcast is making his debut on Between Two Beards. So bring him on. Push the button. Do the thing. Yeah! There it is.
Here he is.
What's
Very
up,
happy to have
brother?
Tanner here. What is going on, my friend? How are you this evening?
I am good, JPJ. Pluggo, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me on. When Pluggo reached out earlier this week, I've been excited ever since, and I'm just disappointed in my beard game. I got a long ways to go to get up where you guys are. So
We don't facial hair shame here, but
No,
I'm just happy you called me by the correct name.
I got it
It's
right
true.
this time.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I did an interview with Tanner. That's how I met him, and he called me Pluggo, as Sue does at the end of our.
Oh, well, that's okay. So that's Sue,
Yeah, so he's
That's all
following suit with Sue.
Yeah,
So,
leaving in the gimmick a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Definitely a lot to talk about. Definitely a lot to talk about. We had AEW Revolution happen this past Sunday. Yeah, we got Zach in the chat. PLUGGO. There you go.
PLUGGO.
We had AEW Revolution.
Best thing that's ever happened on this show.
It's true. We also had Dynamite last night as well that had some big things that happened during it as well. But definitely going to dive into Revolution because there is a lot to discuss there. I thought just a fantastic show.
Let me, since I've got you, because you do an AEW podcast on this very channel, firmly AEW. You're a heavy AEW podcaster. Let's just, how cool, I don't want to jump ahead, but how cool was it to see Sting's like retirement and they did it so well?
Oh man, it's
because they couldn't do it in WWE this well. They didn't.
Right. We've seen a lot of wrestlers retire in professional wrestling, right? Some have went out on their own. A lot, unfortunately, haven't gone out on their own due to injuries or what have you. We've seen some go out maybe how they wouldn't want, aka Kurt Angle. But I thought this was handled about as well as I've ever seen a wrestler retirement. The whole build up, months and months since they announced that he was going to retire Revolution. Then they announced it was going to be at the Greensboro Coliseum, which, 1988 Clash of Champions with Flair, how fitting. Then he picks the Bucks that set the IWC up for an uproar. But I thought it all played out well. The match was so damn fun. I liked Sting going out as a winner, undefeated AEW record. Then the title's getting vacated. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But it was just so fun. It was just a match that I think, Sting's one of those guys where nobody really has a bad thing to say about him backstage. And as the IWC for one night, we could just kind of celebrate being wrestling fans and enjoy the moment. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's what stuck out to me the most was like, we do these shows. Tanner has the stuff he does. Like, we're on social media all the time and we know how social media can be during wrestling shows, wrestling things. We saw some of the worst of it earlier today with some stuff, right? So it is what it is. But in that moment, when Sting was from the entrance, from actually the video, the entrance, all of it, it felt like there wasn't a ton of that going. Everybody, like Tanner just said, was enjoying, like nobody was saying a bad word about what was happening in front of us. And that's very rare nowadays where you don't see people crapping on something. The most minuscule thing. And it was we were just there in the moment watching Sting and just being like, man, like I grew up, I wasn't a WCW kid when I grew up. I'm in the Northeast. I was WWF, WWE my whole life. When WCW, NWO, that was right in my wheelhouse of age. I was a teenager. That was the coolest shit there was. So like I watched both. And that's when I really first knew Sting was the Crow Sting for me. And then it was going back and watching the Surfer stuff and all that stuff. And I thought the entrance with his sons was perfect. I just thought the whole thing, like the first kid, the oldest son comes out. And I think like everybody, I was like, holy crap, is that Sting?
Yeah, right?
Is that him? And then you kind of knew. And then you saw the Wolfpack one and it was like, oh, those are his kids. And then that made it more emotional. And it was like, dude. And then I was like, oh, no wonder why they had the Young Bucks beat the crap out of them a couple weeks ago. That makes even more sense now that they're out there like, yeah, man.
But I was told AEW doesn't tell stories.
I know, right? That's odd. They don't tell good stories. Well, that was a small thing that happened that...
Oh, you're going to fit in royal well here, Tanner.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That was a small thing.
Yes.
That none of us were probably thinking about how 2 or 3 weeks ago, those kids got their asses kicked by the Young Bucks. And then you see how that happens at the entrance and how the match starts. And you're like, okay, cool. This is the Young Bucks deserve it. They were the perfect guys to be the opponents.
Man.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it was just perfectly done. It was just perfectly done.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Growing up, I was an NWO guy. I like that Stinger guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But that said, very awesome. Very cool. I think they did it right. I think they did it well. I know that there's still a section of the IWC that didn't think it was the way to do it, but given how it transpired and what they did, I think it went really well. I don't see why it was I don't think people overall were hating on it. I know that you can't please everybody. But shout out real quick. We got
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Ascended X saying, wow, the KOP champ. How much are we paying him? Well, if you're familiar with this show, we're not paying him a dime. Spencer's paying him blowing the budget today.
Yeah, if you guys are new here, we blow the budget. Well, that's our thing. We get yelled at every Friday morning by Spencer for spending too much money.
And then we had Dustin,
quality people on here. So
at first he wasn't a fan of the tag match, but as this last match, he was happy with how the whole thing went. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it went really well. And then we have Zach in the house saying, right, no stories, in the AEW crowd's having a tough one. Yes, they are.
And I feel like for me, right, like I just kind of lost my thought.
Well, think about it. While you think about it, I'm going to say this: if you're in the house and you're watching, smash that like button, get in the conversation, get your chats going. Let's have some fun tonight. We're up to talk about pretty much anything.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is, I was in the camp of I wanted them to lose the titles going into the show. Not strongly, like whatever, but like I was more of like, I think Sting's an old school guy. He'll go out on his back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I figured. But the way it played out, and by the time the end of the match was happening, I was all in. I was like, no. Yeah, just win, and we'll figure that out after. And they announced they're going to do a tournament, and I expect the Bucks. Yeah, it's all.
I was just happy that Sting in the conference said that he was at least contemplating going out on his back.
Yeah,
like the old school, because that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted, and it didn't happen, and that's okay.
I think Tony overruled him on that one.
Listen, Tony Khan, you're messing with my predictions.
I personally hope they retire the current design of the tag team title belts and introduce a new design. Kind of like they did when Brody passed. That old TNT design went with Brody. I think that the tag title design should go with Sting and introduce a new one at the end of the tournament.
Oh, that stud. That big star Josh Robinson's in the house saying holla holla.
Yeah. So
shout out to Josh Robinson. He's the GOAT.
Yep. And then we have Culp. Culp, stay tuned.
I don't know if you're a baseball fan or not, Tanner, but
well, I am. I'm not as big as I used to be. My fandom's kind of going down year to year, but I'm JPJ's not gonna like because I'm a Yankee fan. So
I didn't know that. I'm sorry, JPJ.
I see what you did.
Now we got to go down one of these rabbit holes before we talk about Revolution. So full shoot pre-show, I was like, JPJ, you're gonna love Tanner. He's awesome, big sports guy, big AEW guy. You're gonna have a blast with him. I didn't know, and I said I wouldn't bring on some guy, just some rando. And now you're Yankee fan. Great, great.
Yeah.
Hey, look it. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
I'm a realist, though. I'm a realist. I make fun of the Yankees.
If we want to make you feel more at home, Tanner, we could do this.
Wow.
I'm gonna get kicked off my own show.
No. I don't think I've ever had less enthusiasm about a Boston Red Sox season than I do about this one. Yeah, and I am football is the sport I watch the most of, but I am still like baseball is still my Mount Rush, like my Rushmore. Like I still love baseball. It's my favorite sport. When I grew up, the Patriots weren't the Patriots they are now. When I was growing up, like the Red Sox were not the only thing that mattered. We care about all our teams in Boston. We're obviously that type of passionate city, but the Red Sox were it. They hadn't won yet. They were the team. This city in this area lived and died. And Pluggo, you're a Cubs fan. It's just it's that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I just the owner. The thing that bothers me, and the regulars that are in the audience tonight, they're like, Jesus Christ, Joe's going to go off on the Red Sox again. Here we go. But I'm sorry. I have a problem when the owners blatantly don't care.
This is my favorite
and
part
that
of the show.
To me, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. You own a pro sports team, and like you established. Look, the Red Sox didn't win before John Henry came here. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he's not the greatest owner in the history of the team. He is. He is the greatest owner in the history of the team. But for the last 3 to 5 years, he has not given a shit about the team. He traded Mookie Betts. He did not want in 2019 or 2020, whenever it happened, right before the 2020 season. if you are not interested in signing a player like Mookie Betts, that tells me you don't care about winning anymore. And they created a media blitz that told everyone that Mookie didn't want to play in Boston. He didn't like being in Boston, and they tried to turn it like he was the asshole. Okay? And then Mookie comes back last year as a Dodger, where there were more Dodgers fans in the stands than Red Sox fans because we suck. And he comes back, and they're interviewing him, and he goes, "Oh, I loved it here. I would have played here my whole career."
Yeah, he tells the truth.
Yes. And I'm sitting there like, you sons of bitches. Because I knew.
Yeah.
Terry Francona, greatest manager in the history of the Boston Red Sox.
Absolutely.
He leaves. They put things in the media saying he was a drug addict on pills.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
They own the newspapers. They own the Pittsburgh Penguins. They own Liverpool. Okay. The Red Sox are not a team to have in the portfolio. They're the Boston Red Sox. They are the focus if you own the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
And it's annoying. Okay, that's it.
Well, I think Pluggo could say the same thing about the Ricketts with the Cubs. You know, they win the World Series in 2016, and then it's kind of like, what else do you want from us? We got tons of money. We're a big market, but we're not gonna make a lot of moves.
Hey.
We're lining our pockets.
Hey, this is JPJ's misery, not mine. No, this is true. He's 100% true. But the Ricketts, I will say this, realized that was a stupid idea and have actually started to build a pretty decent team over the last few years.
And they signed Bellinger back, which he was great for you guys last year. Yeah.
So like, we tried it, and they were like, nah. The Cubs fans were like, nah, we're not having it, dude.
So the Red Sox do
you got
nothing.
money.
They do nothing all offseason, literally nothing. The Kansas City Royals have spent more money than the Boston Red Sox this offseason.
That's
insane.
Yeah.
But the main thing they do is they sign Lucas Giolito. And they're like, he's going to be our opening day starter, which, first of all, the Red Sox need 3 starting pitchers. They've signed 1.
Thanks a lot, Culp. Way to go, dude.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery has been literally living in Boston all offseason, basically just walking around Fenway asking for a contract. And they're like, no, we're good, bro. We're good. So they signed Giolito, right? Who, in my opinion, is a above average. Like, he's not an ace. He's an above average, a B minus pitcher. He's going to be, he should be a good 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
He's 3 in the rotation.
Should be a good 3. He's going to be our 1. He's the only guy we sign. And again, it's not the owner's fault that somebody gets injured. Like, I'm not saying that, but it just proves a further point of the problem that if you're banking on Lucas Giolito, there's a problem. There's a problem. Maybe the Chicago White Sox can bank on Lucas Giolito. The Pittsburgh Pirates, maybe. The Boston Red Sox, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, that's it. All right, we're done. I just had to, that's it. This is what happened.
Wait a minute. Okay, I was Culp this time. I was sitting here.
That's true.
Talking Revolution, talking Sting, but since you did that, before we jump back into Revolution, let us know in the comments what you thought about Revolution, how you thought about AEW overall this week. And while you do that, real quick, since you've already ranted about the Red Sox, JPJ, who is your 21st team in the JPJ MLB Power Ranking?
The Boston Red Sox.
I'm surprised that they're that high.
No, on the over-unders, that's where they are kind of. They're at 70. The number is 77.5. Little do we know, I'm not going to know the math off the top of my head, but the Red Sox have won 78 games for 2 straight seasons. They had this identical record for 2 straight seasons. And it was 78 wins. The over-under number is 77.5. And I do think, obviously, because of the Giolito injury, they're going to be worse than they were already going to be. So I have them under. I don't think they're going to be that Fenway Park. The offense is going to be fine just because of the park. Like, they're going to be okay. They're going to score runs. They're going to win a lot of games 10-8 and 9-7 and things like that. But they can't pitch. They don't have pitchers. Although I will say they actually did something smart today is they signed Brian Bayo to an extension, our good young pitcher, and it wasn't really that expensive, but he's on the team till like 2029 now. That was a smart move by the Boston Red Sox today. So, and I still love my team. I want my team to do well. I just want my owner to either sell the team or fly to the moon. See you later. I don't need you here anymore. Thank you for 4 World Series. I appreciate you. You don't give a shit. Go run Liverpool. Go buy an NBA team in Las Vegas with LeBron when he retires. I don't give a shit. Just stop running my Boston Red Sox.
I love this
But
show.
so I have them under. But I still think they're going to win 73, 74. They're going to be around there. I don't think they're going to finish in last place again. I do believe so. Because the East is
I was gonna say
loaded.
they're floated. It's
the Orioles are
loaded
unreal.
division.
The Yankees are good. The Blue Jays are above that. Like they're all and the Rays are.
And the
always
Rays do
good,
what
no
they
matter
do.
who they
Yeah.
So,
They
like,
got a great front office.
Yeah, the Red Sox are gonna be the worst team in the division, but I think they're not gonna be a 50, 60. Like they're gonna win 75 games. I think.
Yeah.
So I have them taking the under, but. If they had Giolito, I probably would have said I think they're going to win 78 games. So the third straight year in a row. I think they're doing it.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to lose that many games. You have to be real bad to lose like 60.
And I don't
to only win 60 games. What I'm saying.
Yeah, we still got Devers. We still got Story. Like I don't think they're real bad. They're just bad.
So this has just been the first
Boston Red Sox.
This has just been the first installment of probably many installments of the JPJ Boston Red Sox Corner. That might not even be the only thing.
The season hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
God forbid. God forbid things happen during the season. I'm going to be in here weekly, like it's the JPJ Red Sox minute, and it's just me crying. It's just going to be me crying the whole time.
And I'm going to clip Tanner just laughing every time the Red Sox lose.
Yeah, you can just put his head behind me as I'm just losing my mind. Anyway, all right.
All right, boys. So Revolution. Overall, we touched on just the Sting aspect of it from just how cool that was. Yeah. What did you boys? This is why I brought you guys on because you're the AEW guys. I'm an AEW guy, but I'm just saying, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah. Are you always here? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm seeing things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll let Tanner go first there, but yeah.
How about as a whole? What'd you think of the show? Then we'll break down like some of the matches, some of the things we thought were the cool spots, bad spots, yada yada yada.
I thought it was one of AEW's best pay-per-views they've ever put on. And we were talking about this the other day, Sunday before our predictions podcast. I said year to year, the old format AEW had 4 pay-per-views a year, right? Now it looks like they're gonna have 9 or 10 this year. But you can make a case since the old format of the 4 pay-per-views a year started, that Revolution year to year is their best pay-per-view from start to finish. For whatever reason, they just always put on a banger of a pay-per-view, a Revolution, and this year lived up to that. I mean, there's only really 1 or 2 matches I can kind of nitpick. All the rest I really enjoyed. And even those 2 matches, I found things in the match I enjoyed. But there's about 2 of them I didn't like as much as the others. But man, there's some, and I'm sure we'll get into. There's some that are my early candidates for match of the year. So,
no question.
Oh, it was. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought overall, I agree with him. I thought it was one of the best shows they've ever done. I thought top to bottom, there were a couple. The scramble for me was really the only time
that was
that
one
I was
ones.
like, but I thought the right guy won. Like
I did
thought
too.
It was. I thought it ended up fine.
Made sense with the story. I just could have done better with the 4 big guys: Archer, Cage, Wardlow, and Hobbs. Give me those 4; it would have been a blast. The other guys.
The problem is there was too much standing around.
Yeah,
and the way that they shot it, you could see it. It was just like, you're not doing these guys any service from a watching at home standpoint. I mean, live in the crowd, you're going to see it, but just my there was just a lot of dead time.
Yeah. When I think of a scramble match, I just think of chaos.
Yeah.
There's going to be 6 or 8 dudes just all going at each other nonstop. And it felt like this scramble had elements of that, but it was really a lot of one-on-one. In the ring at times. All right, it's one-on-one with me and you for a minute. Okay, I'm knocking you out. Next guy's coming in. Okay, then now I'm getting knocked out. And the next guy, it didn't feel like, holy crap, this is happening over here. I got to keep my eye, it just didn't feel that way. And that's how LPW here, our wrestling scramble matches every month. We have a scramble championship, and those matches are just pure chaos from bell to bell. Right. And that's what I expect my scramble matches to be. And it was just formatted in a way where it didn't feel that way to me. So that match was one that I was just kind of like, but everything else for me, I thought it was good to excellent.
Yeah.
Like good. This was like this was like an insane, just like if you like hard hitting slugfest violence, like this was the pay per view for you. Ascended saying that Tony Khan said that this is the WrestleMania. Said this is their WrestleMania first.
And I gotta give a shout out to him. That's Majin. He's one of our loyal viewers of KOP every week. So.
Very cool.
There we go.
He's a new friend of ours. Welcome
he's
in.
a new friend of ours now too.
He's Canadian. Don't hold it against him.
We're based out of Canada.
I know you are. I know.
We are the United States section of.
We are the U.S. representatives.
U.S. representatives of club wrestling.
So he loves us hockey. He lets us know about.
He'll fit right.
It's so we're so ingrained with Canadian professional wrestling now that when I went and met Speedball Mike Bailey at Black Label Pro, he was like, you drove all the way from Canada for this? And I went, no, I'm from Indiana. Like we're in the States here. We got to hold it down below the 49th parallel. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Math. But anyway, if you're in the chat, like, subscribe, hit that like button. We're at 11. Let's get to 20. Let's get to 25.
Let's
go.
Party. Keep it going.
Let's party. Maybe JBJ will take his shirt off. Who knows?
Wow. All right. Jeez.
I'm not taking mine off. Nobody wants to see this, man.
You just throw that out here live like that?
You ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna have that.
Gee, I mean, I'm not against it, but you gotta get
he says he's not against it, but no. Affiliates in the house.
Affilia's our girl. Why you now Ascended is yelling, take it up. Don't peer pressure me. I'm weak. All right.
But no, I was saying like this was the pay-per-view for you that if like you wanted hard hitting just action, and it felt like it was like boom, boom, boom.
The pace was great.
It was like a 5-hour show, but I felt like I was flying through it. The matches all were hard hitting. It's like it's almost like AEW said, you know what? We hear what you've been saying, all this shit you've been talking, you internet wrestling community. Watch this.
Yep.
And you're always gonna have those people, those naysayers that hate it. But if you look at it just from like, it was great. Like, like you said, the scramble, could have probably did without some of the stuff there. I would have liked some of I know they're pre-show matches, so it's not a big deal. I'd like a little bit more there, but overall, very, very cool stuff.
They needed this, in my opinion. They needed to get the ball rolling with momentum. I mean, they signed Will Ospreay. We'll talk about that. We figured the guy who showed up in Dynamite last night was going to show up, and we know what talent's going to show up next week. So a lot of big signees coming in, but they need to get the ball rolling with a big pay-per-view, and that's exactly what they did.
He ain't wrong.
Let's hope not.
You know how to prevent demonetization. Send us your super chats. We'll make sure your question or comment or statement gets read on the air.
Yeah. We did have a 0 hour. The 0 hour started with it was the Bang Bang Scissor Gang against Jarrett's crew of him, Satman Singh, Jay Lethal, Willie Mack thrown in there.
Yeah, that was kind of random.
And then Private Party, who have been back a little bit here.
Which was funny. You had Willie Mack. You could have threw him in the Meat Madness match.
Yeah.
You could have. I mean, I thought, for a 0 hour match, I thought this was pretty standard fare. Obviously, I think most of us expected the Bang Bang Scissor Gang to win. They did. I'll ask you, obviously, you're a big AEW guy. Like, how do you feel about, so next week is Big Business.
Yes.
Jay White is having a big time match next week, a singles match, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yes.
With Darby Allin. It's going to rule. But how do you feel overall since getting to AEW, and especially now being involved with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang? How do you feel about how do you feel about this group in general, and how Jay White is being utilized in AEW so far?
The group in general, I mean, I like all the characters in it. I understand why they did it, because they were going to sell a bunch of t-shirts. But something's just not quite clicking for me like I was hoping with this group, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It might be the absence of Juice Robinson, even though they got the cardboard cut out. But it might be the absence of him. I also don't like that we're not seeing the trios titles defended. The last time we've seen the trio titles defended was All In. That's 6 months ago, which is pretty wild. And I get that you got half as the ROH trios titles and half as the AEW trios champs, but something's just not quite clicking there with me. I do like the wrinkle of Caster all of a sudden struggling with his raps. I'm intrigued to where that's going. I mean, I think we kind of saw it on Dynamite this week when Jay White was talking. Or no, it was after their pre-show match Revolution. Caster kind of didn't want anything to do with the group. So
Yes.
there's something there, and the wrinkles there. Jay White overall, I think, has had its ups and downs as of the usage. They really heated him up with, the being the challenger to MJF at Full Gear. Then we see him kind of go different direction, then form this group. But I think he's about ready to. They're about ready to strap a rocket to his back again with this match with Darby next week, and that's what the fans want. So
I think next week is going to be, Darby, in his promo last night, which I thought I think that was his best promo maybe
he was
that he's
strong.
ever cut.
He was
very, very good last night with that promo, and he was emotional, and it was really, really good. And he's going to have this match. He's got, I'm expecting Jay White to win the match.
Yeah, me too.
Because Darby is going away shortly to go do the Mount Everest thing. And I think
what a crazy son of a bitch.
Unbelievable. And just the way he was just talking about it last night, like, hey, I might die up there.
Yeah.
Can we stop for a second? Like, he's got to be banged up from the spot he did.
Oh, what a spot.
At Revolution.
What a spot.
And then he's going to wrestle this match. He's not 100%. Like, he's, like, the Mount Everest ain't no joke, and if you're not
Mount
at
Everest
100%,
it's going to be a lot harder than that glass spot.
He's Darby Allin, man. He's just.
I know,
but he's one of a kind.
I'm thinking about it just from like a standpoint of like, let's say he like messed up a rib or bruised or something, and then he's going to go take on Everest, and I don't know if you can do that.
Dude,
Now, do we know exactly when he's doing that? I don't know if it's
later but we know exactly that Mrs. Pluggo has entered the chat. Hi, honey. Hello, Mrs. Pluggo. You're the best. This is Tanner. Say hi to Mrs. Pluggo.
Hey, Mrs. Pluggo.
Everybody's forced to say hi to Mrs. Pluggo.
That's right. It's an honor.
That's a thing that happens.
Forced. Jeez.
I think it's happening.
The 27th, he said, right? March 27th?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the end of March through
April.
April.
That's why I was like, he's hopefully can get himself like in a really good physical condition by then, because like he's got to be injured.
Man, yeah,
he wasn't walking great down the ramp.
I don't know how he could.
Maybe he was selling it at Dynamite last night, but more power to him.
My word. But yeah, so I mean, I thought that what was it, an 8-man tag, 12-man tag? I don't even know. I thought it was
12-man,
12-man, right? I thought, it was
fine.
what I expected it to be.
Yep.
The second 0-hour match I actually enjoyed way more.
And
that was the tag match with Statlander and Willow defeating Julia Hart and Sky Blue. I thought it was a big victory for Willow and Statlander. I was not expecting them to win. And I continue to like, and we saw a little bit on Dynamite last night with Statlander and Stokely. He threw her the chain. She didn't want to use it. Then she ends up losing. And I'm intrigued about the layers of the story of where it could go. Is she eventually going to break and turn heel and listen? Like, there's a lot. And then Willow is involved. I like it all. I like it all. I can let you go what you thought about the match but I really like where this is going.
No, I do too. I'm right there with you. And I thought it was, we do predictions for every pay-per-view, AEW pay-per-view. And I was lucky enough to retain my title. And the only match I missed
he's so humble.
Somehow was the BCC FTR match. I took FTR and they lost.
So did I. Yeah.
So
this one, and we do confident points. I don't know how exactly you guys do yours. So least confident, we put 1, and then most confident in this case was 11. The second 0-hour match, the women's match, was actually my 1-pointer. And I picked Willow and Statlander, but I just had no idea. I'm like, I can see this going either way. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of all 4 ladies. And like you said, I'm really intrigued with this. Is Statlander going to turn heel, or could they really swerve us and have Willow, the ultimate baby face, somehow turn heel? I really don't know.
Ascended in the chat just said, I think Willow will turn. And so did Scott. I think Willow is the one to turn heel next week using a weapon to beat Riho.
Yeah.
I think they could go that. It's hard to think because Willow is so lovable and so
bubbly
over.
And positive and nice.
But that would be a twist that would, take, and we'll talk about a bigger twist that happened on Dynamite last night that people weren't expecting. But I could see a similar type feel oh, dang, Willow's a bad person, like a heel.
And depending on what direction the talent they're bringing in next week, if she's going to be a face or heel. She has some history with Willow. So
whatever do you mean, Tanner? Talent next week. No one's been announced.
No one's been announced. It's
No
just
one's been announced.
big business for a boss. So
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
In Boston, as they're saying.
Boston. I thought the boss was WWE bound.
I thought a lot of the talents we're going to talk about tonight were WWE.
Have you? Do you not follow my social media channels? Everybody's like, Okada would never sign in AEW. He's got to go WWE. Ospreay, if he wants to have a good career, he'll go to the WWE. And why would Mercedes waste her time in AEW? 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, baby.
Yep. The internet's never wrong, though.
You know what's funny is now they're like, what do you do? There's so many talents. They all wouldn't be able to fit in WWE now. Sure, you would want them. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. When I sat there and was like, here's how I look at it. I'm going to go down this rabbit hole because I've been sitting on this one all day. You guys are sports guys. You remember when LeBron James signed with Miami?
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4.
Well, he signs with Miami and everybody dumps all over him. What a terrible move. How could you do that to Cleveland? He gets paid $100 million to go play basketball with his 2 best friends in Miami, not Cleveland. You do that every time. I had somebody in one of my chats say that this decision for Mercedes would ruin her career. To which I argued for all 3 of them, no, it doesn't. If it works out and viewership gets up and the numbers get up and AEW gets rolling again, they're going to look like saviors and their price just skyrocketed.
Exactly.
Because you got proof that they did it. If it doesn't work out and if they fall flat on their face in AEW, guess what? The WWE will be there with a substantial offer either way. So it's a win-win for all of us.
Yeah. And have they not seen what my boy I don't know if you guys see back there, I got a little shrine for Cody Rhodes. Did they not see what he did away from WWE, built himself up to where then he could go back to WWE and be one of their faces of their company. So I mean,
and I always I'm thinking about this too. Like someone was saying about Okada today.
Yeah.
How it's going to be a earmark on his career. It's like he's having fun. He's like, let me go hang out with my friends. Let's just have some fun. I get to wrestle the style I want to wrestle. I don't have to answer to anybody. I get to have my creative mind still going. And if I want to still New Japan, I can still do New Japan. I can still do Impact, do whatever I want because I'm Okada. If I go to the WWE, I have to go to the WWE and do just that and do whatever they tell me.
Yeah,
and go by whatever name they're going to give me, even though I don't think they would have changed his name.
I think he would have been safe. I think he would have been safe. I hope. Yeah, but and I agree. And then obviously, I know we're going to talk about what happened with Okada last night, but he gets to go be a part of a group with 2 guys that he worked with for years and years and years, who he it's just. How is that a bad decision? No, you hear the reports today of how he could be making $4 million a year.
Him.
Good for you, buddy. Yeah. Last time I'm pretty sure they're going to give Sasha a lot of money.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I
need to go buy a pair of tights.
It's very weird to me. Like you can root for where you want these people to go. Sure. Do I think it would have been cool to see Okada in WWE? Absolutely. I think it would have been very cool. Right. But guess what? It's still very cool that he showed up on AEW last night and he's a heel now with the Young Bucks. I'm all in on that. I like it. No pun intended.
It's just funny to me.
Weird.
I look back 6 years ago before AEW was a thing. We didn't have a lot of choices in America of what wrestling we could watch. Now we have tons. And it's like, let's just enjoy wrestling, guys. Watch what you want to watch. Don't watch what you don't want to watch. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for them.
I haven't done this in a while. Say that again.
Oh, here we go. He's going to say that again.
Watch what you want to watch. Don't watch what you don't want to watch.
What? Is that a new concept? Mrs. Pluggo, if you're watching, I promise.
Yeah, I always just envision Mrs. Pluggo is upstairs watching, going, he just spit that on the floor. Like that didn't go anywhere. That it was, just on the wall.
What a crazy concept!
Yeah, I know, right?
Unbelievable! I couldn't believe. I'm shocked. I'm shocked and chagrined.
All right, we then move to the main card, and the main card starts with an AEW TNT Championship match between Christian Cage and the Patriarchy against Daniel Garcia. First and foremost, leading. I mean, I said it last week when we did our preview, but like I adore everything that they've been doing with Daniel Garcia since the Continental Classic.
Yes, that's the great point. Because before then, I was really cooled off on him. After they had me hook, line, sinker with him and Danielson at one time.
Yep.
He's a wrestler, he's a sports entertainer. Then they kind of lost me with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then the Continental Classic heated him back up. I'm like, this is how you use the guy. Then they've been killing it with him ever since, and I love that. I love the spot of this match to lead off the pay-per-view. Even though my one complaint is I had to go back later and watch it because my damn Bleacher Report app stopped working during the damn match. I missed the whole thing live. So
you know who you can reach out to with problems of that nature?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
He's a friend of ours.
He's
not actually a doctor.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Every time the app goes down, he just gets.
It's official. It's official. Tanner, you're part of the club now. Philly's saying, "Get out of here with that logic. This is the internet, sir." You just had yelled at by Affiliate Pain.
I let Bleacher Report know. I'm like, this happens to me every single AEW pay-per-view. And at some point, I lose either half a match or a match, and it's frustrating.
They got to figure that out or get that off of Bleacher Report.
I'm hoping eventually they get it on Max. That's
because the thing is, if you're gonna move to 10 of these, it's bad when it's 4 because it's only 4.
Yeah.
So it's like it's worse because it's only 4. But now if you're gonna do this 8 or 9. 10 times a year, you better have it on point because you're gonna have a lot of pissed off people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're asking them to shell out $50 a pop, and if they have a couple bad experiences, they're not gonna come back.
100%. I was gonna say now your pay-per-view market is growing. $50 a month times 4, that's $200 a year. You want to do 10 of these suckers now, and if we eventually get to every month, if you're matching WWE, you're asking me to give you $600 a year, bro. That's a bill. That's a bill, like you better, I better not be running into issues at all.
Nope.
And, so it's one of those things where I'm hoping that eventually when we do get an announcement of a new deal or there is Warner HBO Max would be a very, a very easy way to, and I have more faith that they would be able to handle it on a live scale than what we've seen. I, knock on wood, haven't had any major issues with Bleacher Report. A few times here or there, but nothing crazy. But I hear the horror stories.
Yeah, I was pissed the other night, and I was actually relieved that wasn't just me. I mean, I went on Twitter, I searched up, like, okay, tons of people having problems, not just me. So
yeah. But Pluggo, I mean, I'll let you go for this opening match here. I mean, Danny Garcia is a guy that the crowd is already very, very behind him. Yeah, but this is a guy that I could see kind of being an underdog guy going for the world title at some point, and overwhelmingly the crowd being like, it's Daniel Garcia's time. Like, we want this, like the way they're building him, the way he just is, he's tough as nails, but he has this character that is just, it connects with, he feels normal. Like he's just a normal kid, like type guy. And obviously the dance is over and stuff like that. But, this match was everything I thought it was going to be. It was very, very good, back and forth. Obviously, the people around ringside getting involved and, leading to the end of the match with, Nick Wayne hitting the cutter, which helps Christian retain, which, I think a lot of us, I know that everybody, did you pick Christian to retain heading into this for your picks?
I did. Yeah. I think for 2 or 3 though. I thought maybe they might give us, strike the iron while it's hot type of thing. So
when they announced the match was opening, I was kind of like, oh, I was like, I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be something if they kicked this event off with a banger and did a shocker here and Garcia snuck a victory. That would have been incredible. But all in all, the match was very, very good. Anyway, I, like everybody, this Christian is just the best Christian. It's just the best Christian.
He is awesome.
Yeah, I loved,
The one thing that surprised me with this match, I thought we'd get an appearance from Adam Copeland. I was shocked that he wasn't on this pay-per-view at all. I like it from a story perspective because the concerto, taking him out because that would take somebody out for a long time. But I was still really shocked that we didn't get a appearance by him.
Yeah. That I thought we would. I did like the Matt I with the Danny Garcia thing. One thing that I also like about it is how Matt Menard is getting kind of shown more. He's been doing the commentary thing. He showed up on Dynamite. Like he's a guy that he could be a player for them as a singles guy too, or like even kind of like as a mentor, older brother type to Garcia along this journey, which he's kind of filling that role right now. But I like that he's getting more stuff on television because that guy's entertaining as hell.
Oh,
that guy's entertaining as hell. So
one of the
that's
best
another
talkers
aspect
they have.
Oh, easily. That promo that he cut a year and a half, 2 years ago, something. That was something. Yep. What is the matter with you? What are you laughing at?
I just love that you're like, Pluggo, I'll start with you. And then
we went off on a
you took all the wind out of my. No, that's fine. I just was like, yeah. No, that's a great point. I really thought that too.
I'll leave. You want me to leave?
No, it was fine. You guys got on a really good run there. I don't want to say anything, but I was like, did they just break down the whole match? And I didn't get to say, okay.
Well, we didn't really talk about like Go ahead, Pluggo. What'd you think?
No, I thought it was a fight. It started.
I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to jump in.
I was like, all right, let me just figure out where I can interject here and not ruin this clip. It's a great one. You guys are going, but all right. No, I thought it was fine. Of course, I don't think any of us. I really didn't. I had no confidence that Danny Garcia was winning, only because that's not the story they're telling. Granted, you know how I feel about striking while the iron's hot. I think they should have, but they didn't. It did start. It was a little slow. I didn't really enjoy for the championship match. Like, I know it's his gimmick. I know it's Christian, like the family meeting huddles and kind of slowing it down. I really would have liked to see them just balls to the wall, show what Daniel Garcia could do. But, we saw what we saw on Wednesday night, so we're going to continue the Adam Copeland and Christian story. But it was a fun match. Starter, great opener. I enjoyed it.
All right. I love it. And then we went from that right into the AEW Continental Crown Championship.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. And I was just like, once that, I was like, they're doing this now? This is just right back to back. All right.
Not messing around tonight.
This is what I knew. I was like, we're in for something because you still had Mox and Claudio and FTR and the Sting Young Bucks thing. I was like, this is just not going to quit tonight. I'm still like the Danielson Kingston match. I'm still like, oh man.
What more can we say? What more can you say? It's the third match we've got with them since the Continental Classic.
Hi, Lawrence.
All three of them
our legal
different.
team.
All three of them were different, but all three of them were absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the moment at the end where Eddie pulls through again, and you get the handshake. And if anybody in the chat has not seen the promo that they released on AEW's Twitter of Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson in the trainer's room after the match, wait till this show is over. You do not leave right now. You wait till the show is over. But after the show, you go find that because you will not regret that 4 minutes because it is excellent.
Yes.
Both of them. We were watching the show with friends and I was quiet for like 5 minutes and they were like, did JPJ leave? And I was like, no, I go to the Twitter and watch that because it's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about the match.
I fell asleep.
You fell asleep? What? During the match? What?
On Sunday. You're like, I got invited too. And like, I took the kids to the park and then like I got home, turned on 0 Hour and laid down and fell asleep. So that's why I finished Revolution yesterday. But anyway, this match was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Tanner, speak on it. Tell me this wasn't one of your two things you didn't like about Revolution. Tell me it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I love this match. Hard-hitting match. Good story. I mean, I predicted Kingston to win. I think most people did, especially when he said, I'm going to have Danielson shake my hand after I win. But these two can just tell such a good story in the ring. They're two of the best, if not the best in AEW at telling stories in the ring. Eddie, Danielson, he's having a time of his life on this last run, putting people over, having banger matches. He's so selfless. He's so unselfish.
He really is.
I mean, Eddie Kingston just keeps. The crowd already loves him. He just keeps climbing. I mean, that push is getting higher and higher and higher, and beating one of the greatest ever to do it just elevates all three titles he's wearing too. So now my only gripe is they got to get him more involved every week with ROH, especially if he's going to be their main title holder for their upcoming pay-per-view. So
Yeah, and I think they need to do that with all the Ring of Honor
do.
champions.
They
I
do.
feel like the only time, and I'm not I don't watch Ring of Honor.
I don't
weekly.
either. I don't either.
It's because they counter program the greatest
Well,
show.
that is true. They do
in
counter
history of-
program the flagship between two beards right now.
here. Yeah.
So that's why we don't watch them. Okay,
Understand.
but people that I know that are still huge Ring of Honor fans, that's their biggest gripe is, the championships are defended on AEW, not Ring of Honor.
Which we were told at one time was kind of stop or be reduced, and it hasn't. So
It's so bad.
Yeah. And I
like
think
that would get me to watch your show. Like that would get me to spend the money. If you were like Eddie Kinks is going to be on, the trios champs are going to be on, TV champs, like, put them on the show. Only person but for some reason the only one, Athena, isn't allowed to like work anywhere else.
And she's one I would love to see on Dynamite or Collision or Rampage all the time.
That whole brand. Yeah.
Oh, she's been awesome.
And it's very weird. Yeah, because it feels like they've just failed to distinguish the rosters. You know what I mean?
Exactly, Zach. I don't either.
And like they've failed to distinguish the rosters, and now you have the Ring of Honor championship. The championships are on AEW wrestlers,
right?
And it's like all you really need to do is like distinguish who's going where. Is Willie Mack a Ring of Honor guy or is he an AEW guy?
Right.
If he's a Ring of Honor guy, cool. Like occasionally, have him on a show, have him on a pre-show in a multi-man match like you did. That's fine. But if he's a Ring of Honor guy and he wins a championship, he should be on Ring of Honor.
100%.
You know? And
100%.
There's just like there's a blur. It's just blurry. Nobody knows who's going, like except Athena. Literally, Athena and Billy Starks are like the two.
They're not allowed to go anywhere.
Ring of Honor the whole time.
It's really hard.
Sorry.
It's just very weird.
Arguably the best champion you have outside of Eddie
I wouldn't even say
Kingston.
arguably. I wouldn't even say arguably.
She's awesome.
She's been amazing since she's been the Ring of Honor champion. And like Tanner said, if you're gonna pick any of the Ring of Honor people, like I would like to see her more.
Yeah.
On AEW television, but she's the only one they've.
In the women's division, I think so far in 2024 is cooking, and it's just going to get better and get her in there too. And my God, then we can really have some conversations.
100%.
I don't have the pencil. I wish I did sometimes. But
we say that too, but that's why we're here and
not
hanging out with Tony Khan in a private jet.
Yeah.
We then had the scramble match, which we touched on. Wardlow won the scramble match. That was the down part of the show for me. It was the lowest point. Again, I didn't think it was terrible or anything like that, but it was just kind of
It was just there, and it wasn't well paced. It didn't fit with the rest of the vibe of the night. I guess we should say that.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I'm a big Wardlow fan.
Me too.
I'm nervous because every time they start heating him up, they screw it up. So this makes me nervous, but I am excited for next week's match.
He acknowledges that. He knows that.
Yeah, I am too. I think they have done really, really well just giving him a microphone and letting him talk.
Yep.
These last few times we've seen him, like you can tell they're like, "Hey, we want you to hit the points, but do your thing."
And they're giving more him comfortable freedom. As a heel.
Yeah, and they're giving him more freedom to talk, and they're letting him do long promos, and I think he's knocked it out of the park. Those two promos that he's cut recently.
Yep.
And you can already we saw them last night. Adam Cole got wheeled out, and we saw the return of him a little bit. Hopefully, back a little more often. Hopefully, I know he's still banged up clearly, but it would be nice to see him just like a smidge more often because he is the leader of the group.
Exactly.
But he's still saying Wardlow's going to win this belt, and he's going to give it to me. Yeah. And I think we all know that Wardlow
finger poke of doom.
Wardlow might win that belt, but I don't know if he's going to be so agreeable about giving it to Adam Cole. And then I could see Wardlow breaking away and becoming a top babyface.
It reminds me of the early 2000s with Wardlow's hero growing up, Batista, Triple H, Evolution. It's kind of AEW's kind of shell of that story. And good stuff.
Yeah.
No, fun fact on our first episode, JPJ, I said how much I really have been looking forward to a finger poke of doom. Here we are 3 years later, and we haven't seen one. This could be the time.
Someday, maybe. Pluggo, someday.
Huge fan of that.
The next match we had was the AEW International Championship match. It was Orange Cassidy defending against Roderick Strong. I think Orange Cassidy just fantastic run. I know it was 2 separate
Again,
runs, but I kind of
yeah.
view it as a totality.
Uh-huh.
And like carry Dynamite weekly,
Mhm.
just having banger matches week after week after week, sneaking out victories, just kind of proven to me. There was a shift. I think like right before he won it the first time, but there was a shift where the booking of his matches changed. And they
Mhm.
said, you're still going to do the stuff that the people like you, but like you're going to wrestle because we know you can wrestle. And those people that are way, way, way over here that think you're like
A joke.
you ruin wrestling, you're a joke. We're going to prove to them that they don't know what the hell they're
Don't
talking
worry, they
about.
still think that. But
Yeah, I know, but that's because but now we all know they're not smart people.
if you guys want
that's where we're at.
social media 101 in the wrestling world, post anything positive about Orange Cassidy and you will get hate. Just engagement, but hate.
Yeah.
But they had to do that. They had to get him a little bit more serious if they were going to put him on this run, because if they didn't, it wouldn't hit as well as it has, because I love like he doesn't care until he has a reason to care. In this match, we say it on Saturdays. You helped coin the phrase, JPJ. This thing was a banger alert. Woo, woo, woo. This thing ruled.
Yep.
Now, to me, it looked like Roddy Strong was literally trying to break Orange Cassidy in half, and he was not going to stop until he broke him in half. Thank God he actually didn't. But I think it was the right call.
Yep. This was one of my higher confident points matches going in, and just with the story. And what I loved about this whole feud was they announced this 6 or 7 weeks beforehand. It's like finally for a
I hated that
title. I loved it because
I hated that he's like, I'm not going to fight you now. I'll wait 6 weeks.
Mid-tier title, and they built on it. They told more of a story. They didn't just throw it together in a week or two, and let Orange Cassidy put his body through more hell. So he's literally held together with tape and bandages coming into this match, and gave it more of a story reason why he was going to lose. And Roddy, like you said, we know the guy can go in the ring, and he's pretty good on the mic too, but we knew he can go in the ring. He's so intense. And this was a big night for the Undisputed Kingdom. And then we saw him again last night in Dynamite. I'm excited in the direction they're going with this group, because this group needed a night like this to get the juice back in them that they've kind of lost since the Dynamite After World's End.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely needed a rocket behind him, because they've kind of felt like an afterthought.
Did you say the Rock?
And kind of what a rocket.
Did you say the Rock?
I mean, we can talk about the Rock later if you want.
Diarrhea Dwayne?
Yeah.
The worst.
Just a quick
thing
side
ever.
note. Once he said that, I was like,
yeah.
Wow.
Wow. It's like, Seth, that literally might be the worst thing you've ever said.
Yeah,
and I am
all right. Cool, man.
I am a
Fun.
Seth Rollins guy.
Yeah,
even
Cody's face was like, I don't
Cody was
know.
like,
bro, he's like, bro, I ain't that corny. Anyway.
But the big thing that happened after Roderick Strong won the international championship is we saw Kyle O'Reilly return after almost 2 years out. And we saw the reports from Sean Ross Sapp and other outlets that there was fear for a long time that he was never coming, like he was never going to be able to come back. And he talked about it in the promo he did with Renee last night on Dynamite as well. And, he got in there, he hugged Roderick Strong. He was friendly, but then when Roderick was like, hey, take off give him the shirt, O'Reilly was like, no, man, and he just kind of left.
It was a sweaty t-shirt from another dude to begin with.
Give him a fresh one.
Yeah, you don't have a fresh one? Yeah, really? Well, come on.
I was sitting there watching it going, dude, that's gross. I don't want your shirt you've been pouring sweat into for the last however long you've had that thing on. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, so he kind of takes the shirt, but then he gives it back to Roderick and leaves. And we hear last night where he mentions, well, I hate to admit it, but there was times where I didn't think I was going to be able to come back to this, and this is the only thing I love. Like I've been good at besides my family. It's the only thing I love, and things like that. So he doesn't really want to be attached to. Kind of wants to do it his way.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
First and foremost, obviously, terrific to see Kyle O'Reilly. But how do you feel about how they're playing this out with him not joining right away, or kind of seeing like he wants to go a different direction?
I like it because I think it would be too easy of a story to just have him come back right in the heel faction with his buddies right away. And I'm mad at myself that I didn't even think about him returning at Revolution. Because we, like you said, Sean Ross Sapp and the Great Folks of Fightful, they kind of had hinted the last few months that he's probably getting closer to return. But for some reason, it didn't even come to my mind that it could just happen. So that was a very nice surprise, because when the crowd popped, I'm like, what are they popping for? And all of a sudden you see Kyle with a new look, with his hair kind of longer than it was. And because this guy was having a hell of an AEW run before he got hurt. I mean, the matches he put on, that Owen Hart tournament, unbelievable. And but I like it. It's just another wrinkle to the story. What's his motive? I know he kind of wants to go his own way, but what did he say to Roderick? That's the big question. I like it, because I want to see KOR used as a babyface.
I want to see Kyle O'Reilly interact with Adam Cole. I wonder what Adam Cole would have to say. Like, that's another factor of it too. True. But it's good. I'm just glad he's healthy. He's back, and that's Kyle O'Reilly in wrestling is good for everybody.
Amen.
100%. Yeah, and I liked it too. At first, it really is easy to just be like, oh well, Kyle O'Reilly will just join his buddies. And because I think if Kyle O'Reilly was healthy, he would probably be the fifth guy instead of Wardlow, if we're being real, so like that would have been the group. So it just makes sense that something would happen. But now they're kind of like, no, because they clearly have a story built where like Wardlow, I assume at some point is going to break away. Yeah. And when he does, maybe at that time, they've had enough time where Adam Cole's convinced Kyle, like, come back with your buddies, come back with your buddies, so it's kind of a cool way to kind of get to where they eventually want to go. So,
and for a new group, I would say you got to be careful. You don't want to add too many more members to a new group either. Then you're going to dilute it. So. Yeah,
100%. All right. We then it was the Blackpool Combat Club, Moxley and Claudio. Oh my God. Claudio Castagnoli versus FTR. Man, oh man. Man, oh man, guys. What a match.
One of the best tag team matches AEW's ever put on. That's saying something, because AEW's had a lot of great tag team matches. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but it exceeded my expectations. And the reason I picked FTR was just for the simple fact, once again, I saw it going either way, but I'm like, okay, FTR is more of an established tag team. They have more chemistry. Sure, Mox and Claudio have been teaming a lot, but it's just because they're in the same faction. They're not really that cohesive tag team for years.
Boy, were you wrong.
Oh my God, was I wrong? The amount of false finishes. I mean, this was the first match that really got the crowd completely off their feet. I mean, they got off their feet a lot for Danielson and Kingston, but off their feet a ton was this match. And you could just tell these four guys love to wrestle. And it was hard hitting, and I could have watched it another 30 minutes. I'd have been just fine.
Honestly. And I went in, I picked FTR as well. I went in thinking that the Bucks were going to win the tag titles.
Fair.
So I was like, well, you can never get enough FTR versus the Bucks.
Nope.
And if they need a team to feud with the Bucks afterwards, FTR is the perfect team to do so. So that was my mentality. But oh my God, man, I was watching the whole thing. They beat the crap out of each other. It was physical. They were just hard, and the submissions looked like it was just everything about it was just these
Moxley
four guys.
bit his face.
Yeah.
When he's bleeding.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I want to know what goes through Renee's head sometimes when she watches her husband wrestle.
Yeah.
God, that would be.
I bet you she probably turns away and goes, I can't watch my husband wrestle.
That would be a fun thing for like a side cast for like AEW just for Mox matches, to have Renee backstage and just have a camera on her. Head over to Twitter while you're watching and watch Renee's reactions to Moxley biting Dax in the fucking face.
And I gotta say, Cash Wheeler, for a guy who's not a quote unquote high flyer, that dude's so athletic, and with his tope suicidas, he does them better than a lot of the high flyers. I mean, he just goes, and wherever he lands, I'll get up. So,
unbelievable. Man.
These guys are all great professional wrestlers. All
and it felt, and obviously based on, we didn't know this going into the last match that they were going to vacate, but it felt like these two teams were jockeying for position in this tag division. We're getting back to that, like the tag division isn't just like a step down. It's like, hey, these are some heavy hitters in this tag division like it used to be, and tag team wrestling starting to matter a lot more in AEW. So like I think on social media, you and I had kind of back and forth. It's hard to pick against the BCC after tonight if they're in this tournament. They haven't
Right.
announced who's all in, but I don't know
No,
why
but
they haven't put a bracket out yet. That really
I
just
know.
Yeah, but what Tony did say that there's going to be multiple brackets.
Yes.
He
Yes,
that was
he
a
did.
quote. He was like, "There's
Mhm.
going to be multiple brackets."
Yeah.
yeah, maybe
which-
there's going to be like a maybe you do like a collision bracket, Dynamite.
Yeah,
Maybe you figure out how to
like,
do it.
that would
Yeah,
be cool if they kind of played it out. But like, Pluggo, what you just said, how they were like, there's some heavy hitters in that tag team division. Well, now, yeah, because now we know how it goes. With the end of the night, there's a tournament. You need to
Mhm.
because these two teams are going to be in it. The Young Bucks are going to be in it.
Yep.
We know that because they said on Dynamite. But like,
And
I
that-
expect these three teams to be in it. You know what I mean? And like,
100%.
yeah. And then you were not even thinking.
You got
about all the
Starks
other-
and Big
You got Private
Bill.
Party. You get Starks
Okay.
and Big Bill. You can throw in Taven and Bennett if you want to
Dante
throw
and
them in there.
Darius Martin.
Could
If
put
you
in
want.
two of the members of House of Black.
Yes, 100%
Mhm.
House of Black. Yeah, you just top flight. You got all
Yeah.
these teams. You got
Loaded.
all these teams, and it's and they've been proving. You can see on AEW television that they've had some banger tag team matches
Mhm.
going back to these last 6. It's been a trend more lately.
Yep.
And now you can kind of see how this event ended of like,
Yep.
oh, that's why they're kind of making their tag teams more of a focal point now, because this tournament is going to take up most of March. And that's
Yep.
going to be the focus, I think, of the company, really, is this
Yep.
tournament.
They're going back to the basics. The start of AEW, that was one of the foundations, was how strong the tag division was going to be. And that was an intriguing part, I think, to a lot of people that were checking out AEW for the first time. Like, this tag division, I can dig it. It looks like it's going to be the strongest of all the wrestling promotions out there. And then they kind of, over the years, a little bit lost their way with the tag division. Now it looks like it's going to be a strong part of the show again. I'm all for
Mhm.
that.
Wrestling. Hey, before he talks about the next match, hit that like button. We're at 14. We want to get to 20. So
Come on.
give
Let's
us
keep
6,
going.
like
Come
it,
on.
share it out, tell all your
Share it out,
friends.
tell your friends.
Help
your
us
friends.
look cool in front of Tanner.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are cool. You don't got to worry about that.
Sell it, man.
Oh,
Jeez.
okay. All right.
Jeez, I'm never coming back if they don't hit. No, please don't say it. But yeah, dude. All right. Well, who's next? I can't even remember what was next. Oh, the women's
Next
match.
was
right?
the AEW Women's Championship
Yes,
match
that's
between
right.
Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. Another
Mm-hmm.
good match. Good match, as you would expect from these two. I went in. I picked Tony. I felt pretty good about picking Tony, but I was like, man, are they going to really like just fire Deonna right to the top?
They
And
should've.
just, but then you have to talk about who's showing up next week, where they're
Exactly.
slotting in, what's going on here. I personally think, there was not this past week on Dynamite, but on Collision on Saturday, Serena Deeb cut a promo. And in it, she had some innuendos in her promo that kind of
Mhm.
teased that, she called herself the final boss. She said that she's beaten everybody she needs a higher level up of competition. And she called herself the final boss. And I
That
was
wouldn't
like,
be a bad showcase match.
okay, and I'm like, well, if they want, I almost called her Sasha. If they want Mercedes to come in and do like a, not straight to the title, you want a good Serena. You're not going to go bad with Serena Deeb. I've been personally saying Britt Baker because she's been nowhere to be seen as well. But when you think about the women's division, like you said a little bit earlier, Tana, this year specifically in 2024, they have put an emphasis. You can tell they're not all the way where they need it, but you can tell there's a focus with the women's division, and they've carried a few of these shows, these weekly shows, which is something that they just simply were not doing before.
Yeah, absolutely. We're
Br-
finally starting to get, not every week, but more times than we have in the past, we're starting to get 2 women's matches on Dynamite or Collision, which I had been harping about for years on Kicking Out podcasts. Like, come on, Tony, you got the roster,
Yes.
you got the depth. One of them gave me a squash match, for God's sake. I don't care. Just give us 2 women's matches a night. And he's finally starting to do that more. And I mean, and with Mercedes, more than likely.
Yeah, you bring in Deonna a few
Coming
months
in.
ago.
Yeah.
She's been excellent, already in the world title picture,
Yep.
already a bona fide main eventer for you. You have
Yep.
Mercedes next week, and then you still have Britt Baker, who we haven't seen for a while. You still have Jamie Hayter, who eventually,
Coming
hopefully,
back.
will be coming back when
Yep.
she's healthy.
Oh,
Thunder
God,
Rose
you
is
have,
doing her thing on
like,
Collision right now.
Yeah, like you have this roster of super talented and different style. You have as deep, like your roster is very deep on the women's side as much as it is deep on the men's side. So like you really have an opportunity here to just really go balls to the wall, you know?
They have a deep enough women's division. I don't see them doing this, and it would probably be a risky move from a financial standpoint, a profit standpoint, but they have a deep enough and talented women's division. They'd have to tell a hell of a lot of stories to do this, to run an all women's pay-per-view like we've seen WWE do.
Oh, for sure.
They should. You should.
Yeah.
And if you're going to add 9 to 10 pay-per-views a match, that's something WWE's kind of like, well, we did it once, it went all right, but we don't really have plans to do it again. You could.
Can I just say this to that point? Even if you wanted to argue, like, because the WWE said it wasn't profitable,
right?
Billy Corgan said it wasn't. Even from a standpoint of just the goodwill you would get, like, is it worth the loss? Is it worth? It's got like Tony Khan. You could be the guy that does it. You put it on every year.
Exactly.
You show it out, especially considering you're the promotion that everybody dumps on for the women's division, and you say, you know what? Every year we're going to go on all elite women's pay-per-view. We're going to showcase, because he's shown he's willing to partner up with CMLL. He's willing to partner up with Impact. He's willing to partner up with New Japan, Stardom, all this. Partner up, get the women in there. There's plenty of talented independent women that I'm sure would be glad to do the show. Just do it.
Yep.
Who cares how much? Who cares what you're going to lose? Like, it can't be that much, and it can't be that bad. And I bet you they would be a raving success.
You might, even if you lose a little bit in the profit on the bottom line, you're going to gain a whole new group of fans.
Yeah.
100%. And then down the line, you're going to get that profit back.
And then guess what's going to happen?
I guarantee you.
You're going to get the fan base back. And then guess what? The other companies are going to go, oh, shit, look, Tony Khan's doing it. He's successful. They're killing it. They're going to do it. And then everybody will be doing it, and everybody will be happy. So I think it'd be a great idea, Tony Khan. I know he's watching the show right now.
If he's smart, he is.
Yeah, exactly.
He's smart. He loves wrestling.
Yeah,
he's unofficially a part of the team.
That is true. He did tweet today, "I love wrestling," and we did a graphic and everything. We went all out. We were like, "Damn right, damn right, you do." You damn right, honorary member of Love Wrestling over here, Tony Khan.
So his invite is in the mail.
I will start with you on this.
Oh,
one,
will you?
I'm going to send it right over to you right now, buddy.
Just kidding. Dude. That was just funny.
I know.
You guys got going, and I loved it. And I was just like,
tell me what you thought about this women's match and stuff. I know you had picked Tony Storm to retain. No, actually,
I picked Tiana. I picked, except for Christian, I picked all champions. I realized.
Yeah.
Chris Parrish is in the house. What's up, Chris Parrish? What's up, brother?
Tell me what you thought about the women's match. And
I will say this: my eyes had to adjust, because if you notice the match before, they bled all over the mat. That thing was bright and pristine for the women's match, and I was just like, "Is it brighter in this arena?" Silly as that sounds. No, I liked it. Like I said, I thought I just have this, like, Tony Storm has been fantastic. Timeless Tony Storm. I love the character. We all love the character, but I think that there's something in her losing that. There's a lot you could tell. And I said, last week that there was a way that, like, Deonna wins it, comes out, you make a big splash there. You got to build Mercedes up, because you brought the ranking system back. So she's big enough to just come in and demand a shot, but you could build her up and you could do something till Double or Nothing. Now we have the pay-per-view Dynasty in April. You could figure out a way to do that. But either way, I thought the match was fine. I hope this isn't the end between the two of them, because I loved it so much. I loved the story. I loved the match. I'm hoping it's not, here's Sasha next week, forget about Deonna, because Tony does that. He has a tendency to do that, especially in the women's division. I hope that's not the case. Well, I hope Deonna still has some time to shine. But I enjoyed myself.
First of all, I thought that was Tony Storm rocking the old outfit. I thought that was Tony Storm rocking the old outfit. 1,000%. I was like, oh, damn, this is cool. It reminded me of how much I loved the Tony Storm. Like, I love this Tony Storm. It reminded me of how much I miss her old theme. That's a banger of a theme.
Yes, it was.
Banger of a theme.
But yeah, dude. Mariah May killed that.
She killed it. And I think Tony retained. They're going to get to the Mariah May thing is going to be the reason.
Did you notice that
loses that title at some point? Or
the Mariah May graphic for next week is her and the Tony Storm.
Well, they made a T-shirt with her wearing.
Yeah,
like,
she's
Tony Storm
like they used
presented her the
used
t-shirt.
that.
Yeah.
They used that for her match next week in the graphic,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
we're gonna see, that'd be weird, but I'm
That would
into
be
it.
weird. Yeah.
Hey, but if you love, I mean, that's Mariah May's thing. She loves Tony Storm enough, and
Yeah.
Tony Storm loves Tony Storm enough to say, hey, if you love me enough, you'll just wrestle as, older me
Yeah.
or younger me.
When they were cutting that promo, I forget what Renee said, but Renee said something, and then Tony Storm started the interview by going, "Oh, so it is true. You only do look smart." I just thought it was amazing. I laughed. I was like, it just made me giggle. But Tanner, yeah, the women's match, Tony and Deanna. What were your thoughts? How'd you think it went? And did you have Tony retaining?
I did have Tony retaining. Yeah, for I think it was 8 confident points. Which one of my co-hosts had Deanna. And that's the thing. I'm going against 2 guys. I kind of have to think what they're going to do too, and sometimes I have to strategize, and pick the opposite thing. That's what I did with the main event. I'm glad I was right with Sting and Darby because I'm like, those 2 are going to go to the Bucks and they're going to go heavy. So, but I thought this was a good match. But I guess I was holding it because I love the story they told leading up to Revolution with these 2 ladies. I guess it fell below my expectations just a little bit, even though I thought it was a really good match. I just was really expecting them to. I expect to walk away and say, that was one of my top 2 or 3 matches of the night. Yeah. And while it was good, it wasn't that. And maybe that's credit just to the other performers too for elevating their game up to that level. But no, I have no complaints with these 2 ladies. Like Pluggo said, I just hope that Deanna doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I want her to stay around that main event picture of the women's division, even though it's getting more depth, more talent coming in. She's been presented like a star, which is good because she is a star. So,
fully agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fully agreed. Okay. Well.
Okay, he says.
Well, we just talked. We talked about the FTR BCC matches. That was one of the best tag matches ever. Well. This Will Ospreay Konosuke Takeshita match, I was almost in disbelief. I was like, this is unbelievable. That there were a handful of segments in this match that made me almost jump off of my couch watching it. But the specific one where they're going back and forth and Takeshita kicks out at 1 after the flying elbow, I'm just like, and then when the springboard into the Blue Thunder Bomb, I lost my mind when he caught him and just right into the Blue Thunder Bomb. The sequence where Ospreay really hurt his back, that looked gnarly as hell because it was like immediately red and bruised and swollen immediately. God. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me he really got hurt on his first match. Like, gee, because he landed on his head. Like it looked bad. Yeah. It looked bad.
And then he did last night.
And then, yes. And then I was going to say, so that match happens. And obviously we're going to talk about this match. This right here for me, and I know I'm not alone, match of the year. Yep. Is that what we're talking right now?
So far, I think it's mine.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Dare you go against
somebody can take it. I'm not even going to throw it to
somebody. How dare you go against our
Unbelievable.
Saying that
and I knew it was going to be good. We all knew it was going to be Raw. Good. We all knew this match was going to hump. And then I think it exceeded all of our expectations because it was the best match I have seen so far this year in the first.
It was last week. I think it was Mike that said, we often forget that like Takeshita beat Kenny Omega 2 weeks, 2 times in the span of a week. This guy is no slouch. Takesha's one of my favorite like performers. Like I've seen him live, I think twice now, and I'm just blown away by what I've seen. And I survived a headlock from Takeshita, so I can at least say that I have that to hang my hat on. But no, this match, we talked about it last week. I think everybody said this was like on our radar as match of the night. Easily could win it all. It was crazy, spot after spot after spot. I know that, again, maybe if you want more story to your matches, that's fine. But if you want just pure wrestling and you look at it from a bell to bell standpoint, I don't know what else you could want.
Yeah. This was, and I know I'm not alone. You guys kind of just preached to that. This was my match going in. I'm like, this is gonna steal the show. It stole the show and so much more. I mean, there was points in the match I was laughing out loud just because of what these guys were doing. I was chuckling myself just like in disbelief. And Will Ospreay, in my opinion, and I've been vocal about this on the Kicking Out podcast, in my opinion, he's the best in-ring wrestler in the world. And I think even a non-wrestling fan can watch a Will Ospreay match and come away just blown away and entertained. And same, Takeshita's right up there too as one of the best in-ring wrestlers. And these guys put on a clinic. They showed why they are two of the future faces in AEW. And if anybody was worried how Will Ospreay was going to come off full time to American wrestling crowd, they don't have to worry about anything. He's going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine.
And look, I can speak like I watch Wrestle Kingdom every year, but I don't watch much New Japan.
Right there with you.
I'm really mainly a North American wrestling fan, like that. What I watch. I am very excited that I get to watch Will Ospreay week in and week out, right? Like for the next couple of years. That makes me very excited because that dude is everything you want in a main event, face of the company type guy. He can talk. He's charismatic. He's and we saw at the end of Dynamite last night. I'm getting goosebumps. We saw at the end of Dynamite last night. Those are the two best in-ring wrestlers in the world.
Oh,
1 and 2.
Giving it to us right away after he gets to the company.
That was 1 and 2. Danielson
and they went into overtime for that. Like, I was sitting there going, "This match is they always kick it out." There's like 30. There's like it's 10 o'clock, and they're like, "Run over."
Yeah,
the power of Ospreay, baby.
And and like I like you. Tanner, like when I said this match is going to steal the show.
I like you too, Tanner.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks,
yes,
guys. Appreciate it.
The way you said it, he paused.
I know, I went in going, I went in going, this match is going to be the match of the night. If they get the proper time, which they will, it's a pay-per-view. This match is going to be the match of the night. And it was, again, like,
oh my God.
It was so much more than that. It was like, this might be one of the 5 to 10 best matches I've ever seen.
It was
like that's how I was feeling watching it. The stuff they did, the
so
different
smooth.
aspects of it.
So
yes,
smooth.
it will look like they weren't even trying.
Yeah, and it's just
it's wild.
I had a laugh at Dave Meltzer. We call him Uncle Dave on the KLP. We kind of like him, kind of. It's a week-to-week thing.
I think everybody kind of
we respect him at the end of the day. Yeah. But he came out today and he had a tweet somebody tweeted the Wrestling Observer newsletter and said that Meltzer said he's going to have to start putting his match of the year in different categories because there's going to be a match of the year excluding Will Ospreay because Will Ospreay's he's like nobody. He's going to have so many of these every year that nobody can compete.
And now they're going to be even more. Like last year, he had that banger with Omega at like the New Japan show, January 3rd, and that match held up all year. And I think it actually won match of the year for us. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom, and that's where people, your diehard New Japan fans are at 5 a.m. on an awful time. Now he's in prime time as many weeks as Tony wants to use him.
Yeah,
it's gonna get nuts.
Like obviously. We saw the Takeshita match. Him and Kyle Fletcher. That match was also amazing last night to end Dynamite.
And I'm so happy for Kyle
Fletcher's
Fletcher.
Like what? He's young too. He's super young.
He's 25. They said last night he's been wrestling for a decade.
Like that. Bro, that's another main event solo star that you have for a decade. Like that is. Oh my
it's also another Ring of Honor champion that doesn't see Ring of Honor.
And after last night, I hope they do because he showed finally what he can do when given a chance. And man, that was good. And I'm really intrigued too. Where is this going with the Don Callis family? Because I think we all know Ospreay's going to break apart eventually.
Oh, for sure.
But he's got his boys there. He's got Fletcher, who he is part of the Don Callis family. But we also have Mark Davis, Aussie Open. Are they going to break off and feud with the Callis family eventually? That's where I think.
No, I like that little touch that Fletcher said last night, or was it last night or the week before? One of these, everything's kind of meshing together for me. But he basically was like, some things have changed since you haven't been here. And I really like that little wrinkle where it's like maybe Ospreay breaks away and they stay. But to be completely fair, I don't like the Don Callis family at all. So I'd be okay if it went away.
Yeah, well, and my thing is, obviously, there's a story to tell with Ospreay and the Don Callis family, and I do think Aussie Open will break away, and that's how they'll do it. I just don't want this thing to drag out 4 or 5 months. Again, Davis is hurt. Hopefully,
Like a
I know it's a
Band-Aid,
bad
right
wrist
off.
thing or a bad arm thing or whatever. Hopefully, he's close or healthy. That would be great. But like, I don't want us to be getting to Double or Nothing or even past that, and we're still Ospreay. No, like he's got to. I just don't want that.
Yeah.
And you want to tell this story, tell it over the next, month, when the tag team tournament's going on, let it happen, figure it out.
Yep.
Even if Davis ain't back yet, just have Fletcher and Ospreay say peace. And then eventually when they're getting outnumbered for a few weeks, Davis comes back and goes, all right, let's go. And then that's fine.
Yep.
I just, AEW sometimes has like, again, and we're all really pro AEW people here talking about a great AEW, but AEW isn't perfect, and they've stretched things out way longer than things have needed to be stretched out before. And I do not want Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to that extent, but Will Ospreay specifically.
Yeah,
I do not want involved in a stretched out thing.
No,
where he's feuding and fighting and dealing with Don Callis for 5 months. I just don't want it.
You don't want the layers of Don Callis?
You just don't need it. Just don't need it.
Make sure to keep him away from Jericho again, then, because Jericho's story.
Don't get me started on Hook. I'm still mad.
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
Pluggo is a big Hook stand over here.
I love Hook. That beautiful, handsome man. And don't you put that evil on him with that Jericho rub. He don't need it.
It was nice when he took a few weeks off to go play with Fozzy for a little bit.
Tony, I know you're watching. Keep him away from my boy.
I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't care if Hook ever wins another match.
They're gonna be in that tournament. They're gonna be in that. They're gonna be in that
tournament together.
They're gonna be the Golden Hooks. The Golden Hooks, not the Golden Jets. The Golden Hooks.
Stop. Yeah. Stop. I will refuse to watch that.
Boy, oh boy.
Those matches, because I just Hook. Here it's because Hook is so cool on his own, and I'm not even standing.
Very
here.
unique.
He's just a unique cat. He's got his own cool vibe. And let's be completely honest, in a vacuum, Jericho could be corny as hell.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want this like cool guy, uncool guy tag team thing. Like it works when it was like back in the day when it was like Riddle and Malachi Black. That just work.
I'm just getting a vibe
I don't want that. I don't want dad, son. I don't want it. Don't do it.
I'm getting a vibe now that they're just throwing Jericho with random people to try to get people to cheer Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And that's like, even if I'm trying to look at it from a storyline perspective, I can't get that out of my head. They're like, no, they're just throwing him with Hook because they want people to cheer for him.
Yep.
And it's so blatant to me.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
it's kind of like, when Cody had his AEW run, the IWC call it the Codyverse a lot of times. Yeah. Jericho's kind of in his own little world right now in the Jericho-verse. And it's just like, it doesn't mesh with the rest of the show.
What is it? Just to go down this rabbit hole, what is it with this? I know why they're doing it now, but before all the stuff came out and all the like speculations and allegations, why can't Chris Jericho just be Chris Jericho? Why does he have to be with somebody? He feels very like, I gotta be with somebody to stay. Just do what you were doing that made you one of the greatest of all time. You did a lot of this by yourself. You didn't need a bunch of factions or to team up with the hot young star. I just don't get it. And I don't want them to rub off on Hook. I don't want it. Don't do it. I'm adamant about this. Like, I don't put my foot down very often, but here I am digging my heels in the sand. Leave Hook alone.
Well, and that's the thing I kept saying on the Kicking Out podcast about with Sammy Guevara. And I know a lot of people like Sammy, hate him, and I know he's suspended right now and he's a little unsafe at times. But that's what frustrates me with him. It's like they never let the guy go on his own. Every time it looks like they're going to, they pull him right back in with Jericho. It's like, you got to let the kid spread his wings on his own for a while and get him away. You can always bring him back years down the road. They're always going to have that bond where you can bring him back as a tag team for a match or whatever. But they just, for whatever reason, don't do that. I just wanted Jericho to stay away for a little longer. Not that, like, I don't hate Chris Jericho by any means. He's just stale to me. He's stale to me, and they just need to do something different. And sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, and maybe that's what his character needs.
And I think so. I just think that right now in the landscape of AEW, Chris Jericho is not a guy you need to be there every week.
No,
he's Chris Jericho, whether you like him or hate him for whatever reasons. And he's Chris Jericho. He can go away and come back every few months for a big program for the big shows.
Yep.
Or he can do, take a month off, go, it's just,
Yep.
To me, it's almost felt like since the speculation and since things have come out, they're almost like forcing him even more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Is he not a self-aware guy? Like, he seems like a pretty when you listen to interviews or if you've read
he
any
seems like
of
a pretty
books,
like
he doesn't see that, like, he doesn't see what he's doing, like, because he probably gets a lot of leeway with Tony, and he's a day one guy. He
was essential. They needed him to be the
they needed that. He carried the company. Like, I get all that, but he can't possibly be like, yeah, this is a good idea.
I wouldn't think so.
Like, if he is, I got questions, man. Because because at this stage in his career, if you wanted to just sit there in a vacuum and watch the last few years of Chris Jericho, so let's be honest, he's getting up there in age. He's been doing this forever. I want it, like you said, he doesn't have to be every week. He comes, he does a killer match on a pay-per-view, has a fun dream match type deal. We have the cool runs. He doesn't need to be featured in like what feels like start and stops, and let's put him here, let's put him there. Make it make sense. Keep him away from Hook. I'm going to keep talking about it until you move on, JPJ, because I'm just going to keep.
We're moving on.
Chris Jericho being with Hook is my Boston Red Sox ownership, bro.
Hey, I know how you feel, buddy. I know how you feel. I'm with you.
Why Russell Wilson?
Hey, you never know. AEW World Championship match. It was a 3-way. It was champion Samoa Joe retaining the AEW World Heavyweight title against Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. I went into this match. I picked Joe to retain. I went into this match thinking that Hangman and Swerve, there were multiple. Hangman and Swerve, that feud was just going to get in the way, and they weren't going to be able to stay away from each other. But honestly, my mindset was Hangman. I call him Hangman because that's how JR calls him, and it's
love it.
Like that felt weird saying Hangman right there for me. So Hangman, Adam Page, to me, going into this, cared more about Swerve not winning the world title than he did about himself winning the world title.
Yep.
And that's why I thought Samoa Joe was going to retain. Because Hangman was going to do everything in his power to make sure Swerve did not win. Yep. And that was going to make it not easy, but that was going to make Joe win. And that's how it played out.
100%.
Great match.
100%.
Great match. All three of these guys rule. Love them. Hangman is now have some time off here. They've kind of took him out a little bit here. Talk to me about not the main event, but the world title match, Tanner. Like, how'd you think the match went? Did it go the way you thought it was going to go? I saw you pointing. Like, did you agree with kind of where my mindset was?
I agreed with your mindset 100%. I thought going into it, Hangman's too obsessed with not letting Swerve win that. He'd be fine with taking the pin or submitting if that meant Swerve can't walk away as AEW World Champ. I was really confident that Joe, I think this was my 10-point pointer, the confident that Joe was going to win, even though we were talking earlier, striking, striking the iron. Iron was hot. Thank you. And because Swerve is hot right now. I mean, he is him right now in AEW, and it showed last night with the segment that kicked off Dynamite. But that moment can wait, and I thought this was perfect.
No.
Pluggo wanted it.
This was perfect, and I love coming out of this match. Jeez, match. Words are hard tonight. Match. Swerve comes out as a baby face now. Let's be honest. And
they went full
Hangman,
bore last night.
I'm gonna do Hangman. He comes out as a heel. He attacks the referee. That's why it leads to him getting suspended and off TV for a while. Just beautiful. For sometimes where these matches are placed out on the card worries me, and I'm like, before the main event, it kind of worries me, and I'm kind of old school when it comes to. Most time, I like my world titles to be the main event, but in this case with Sting, I'm like, okay, Sting's got to be the main event. And I thought these guys didn't let that spot affect them. They delivered, put on a banger. The crowd loved it. Great storytelling, and keeps the AEW world title picture as intriguing as it's been in a long time.
Yeah, big time. And last night we saw the opening segment. You got Swerve out there, over as hell, full on playing the babyface, like not even not even talking like a heel anymore, like talking like a good guy. And then you see Joe, and then you see Wardlow and Adam Cole, and it's really opening up now to a multi-layered. And the AEW was doing this a little bit with MJF, but it was more centered. But there were at one point 3 or 4 different people coming at MJF. I like when they do this.
Time.
Yeah, the pillars and stuff like that. And Wardlow was like threatening him behind, So like, I like when they have that going on.
Yes.
Because it's Swerve and Joe. That's what we're dealing with. Joe's the champ. Swerve's trying to get back there. But then you do have Wardlow, who has this championship match next week at Big Business. And then so it could, so I like all the different layers when there's multiple guys. Because let's face it, there's only one world championship. And there's probably more than just 2 guys at that level. Multiple people should be trying to go after the world championship.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to make this more sports-centric. I mean, look at sports. Everybody's gunning for that one trophy, that one defending champion to knock them off. Yeah. So it's everybody's goal. That's supposed to be your goal, right?
I'm just here to hang out. I'm not
just here to have fun. We're just here to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. If we're just here to have fun, why do you keep score? Why do you keep score?
Exactly.
It's one of those things. So it's like, but again, I thought this was perfect. I loved the segment last night from Dynamite. Big Business is in my neck of the woods. I will be in the building for it next week.
I was going to ask if you're going to.
Very excited about it. Obviously, Mercedes is a hometown girl.
Oh, yeah.
Watched her in Chaotic Wrestling in the Independents in Massachusetts. Her, Kofi Kingston, Ivar, Warbeard Hansen is what he was known as before. So it's very cool when you see people from this area succeed. And this is going to be a big moment for her. Even though some people will tell you it's not, screw those people.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big deal. And it's going to be a big deal for wrestling. I know Tony Khan can be over the top from time to time, but it's true. She's one of the biggest female wrestling stars of all time, ever. And she's going to debut with all the pomp and circumstance in front of a sold-out TD Garden with 13,000 people there in her home city, and the shit's going to pop off. And that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I think it signifies another level of AEW's commitment to the women's division. It just changes the landscape of the women's division in AEW and women's wrestling a little bit as a whole.
What do you?
She's a bit, go ahead, Pluggo.
I was going to say before we talk, because we already kind of talked about the main event, so we don't have to go over it super duper detailed. But what do you guys think? What do you guys want from Big Business in terms of if in fact, which we all agree, Mercedes is showing up? Like we had the United Center when Punk got there. All he did is he came out at the top, he cut a promo, and he left. Do you want just a promo out of Mercedes? Do you want her to maybe mix it up? Do you want us?
I would like to see her interrupt.
Do you want to see somebody?
Yeah,
interrupt
I want her to interrupt somebody, and like we have an established. Oh, Mercedes is here! Holy shit, he's going after this person.
Yep.
That's what I like.
And then my follow up to that, if you want to add that into your answer too, is like with Punk, they did it right at the top because they knew it would take over the show. I don't know if Mercedes is going to take over the show because it's not been hit as over the head as the Punk stuff was. But does that another thing? Does she start it off? Does she end it? How do you want to see this go down?
Yes.
Tanner,
I'm with JPJ. I'm with JPJ as far as I want to see her mix up with somebody, and I think that individual's got to be Serena Deeb because they've kind of laid the seeds there, laid the Easter eggs there. If I was booking this, I'd probably put it in the 9 o'clock hour window because I have Darby and Jay kick off the show, and then old school
world
here, your world title match main event. So I think 9 o'clock hour, give it a good amount of time. 9 o'clock hour, have her maybe Serena beat somebody, and then it's talking smack, and then she comes out, big pop in the crowd, gets everybody invested into the second hour of the show. That's how I do it.
If we see a graphic on Friday or Saturday on Rampage or Collision that Serena Deeb has a match on Dynamite on Wednesday, that's when it's going to be.
Yep.
That's when it's going to be. And I don't know if maybe, like Deeb fights someone lower on the roster, beats them pretty handily, grabs a mic. And she kind of out in front of the people says what she said to Renee last week. Mm-hmm. And then you hear, the money, whatever that song was, or she has a new whatever. Yep. And then that's the moment. And then okay, it's Mercedes and Deeb. That's where we're going. This is going to rule. This is because Serena Deeb is as good as it gets inside the ring. So is Mercedes. Like, that's going to be.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying Serena Deeb is. I love Serena Deeb, but is it big enough for her to come. You know what I mean? Because you are trying
I get
to
it.
be
I
like,
get it.
oh shit.
I mean, I
this
had
is
Britt
the-
Baker on my mind as the one. So,
Right, yeah.
like, I was obviously thinking,
Yeah.
and again, this is nothing against Serena. Serena Deeb's amazing.
I'm not saying you
But,
can't
like-
do Mercedes and Serena as like a warm up match or some kind
No,
of
yeah,
match, but like interrupting her, is that the big? You know what I mean? Is that big enough for
Fair.
this? I'm just curious. I don't know how you play it. I just, I'm excited for it either way. Like, I think it's going to be good. I think that she, like we talked about earlier, she commands enough respect and has enough of a accolades and a history behind her that it warrants her having a segment weekly on your program. Plus, don't discredit what you're already doing. So that's just going to build and build and build that women's division. So I'm psyched for it either way. But I'm just worried about the reaction she would get if it was Serena Deeb. And I don't mean that in any mean way. I love Serena Deeb.
Well, I remember when Punk came back to, or debuted in AEW. That was kind of the question was with Darby at the time. Is Darby the right guy? Is Darby a big enough guy? And,
Sure.
and those two, it ended up being perfect first match for him. So, we're still over a month to Dynasty. I believe that's April 21st without looking at calendar,
yes.
if I'm not mistaken, in St. Louis. So that might be a little long to draw this out to that pay-per-view. So maybe this is at a different Dynamite or a Collision. But if they want to draw it out there, I think that would be a great first pay-per-view opponent for her. And then if you want to put her in the title picture, because, if they're going by rankings, you got to get a few wins. Then that gives her time by Double or Nothing, one of the biggest shows of the year, to be right there in the title picture.
There you go. See, I can be convinced.
Yeah. And we have Philly in the chat saying, what if Britt comes back like before she finishes her promo? And that's money too. And
And shout out to Philly and her Dynamite style hair.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That was very awesome looking. They had the new set as well. What do we think of the new set, new design? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I dig it. New logo. The logo got rebranded a little bit too, and I like how they're calling it a new season, and that kind of made me think, okay, are they doing it just for TV purpose, like spring, new season, or are they going to try to turn Revolution into kind of their own WrestleMania?
I think they can. I think a lot of people think, All Out or Double or Nothing, because those were the first couple.
Right.
like
Or All
you
In
said,
from Wembley. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, we got Drew before we move on. He goes, or going off Ophelia, Britt interrupts Serena Deeb with everyone thinking it would be Mercedes, and then Mercedes on top that would be good.
That would be great.
That would be good.
That'd be
Because
great.
then you would get the return of Britt, which is going to get a big pop, and then Mercedes. That would.
That's
not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, I just think big business in total is going to be. They're real. I mean, this is going to be a big time.
It's going to be big business.
Yeah, it's show for them. I think this is a pivotal show.
Yes,
Tony kind of said it. Like, this is a show that I think he's viewing as the next giant step in AEW. Like, this is the show that's going to rocket ship. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you got a world title match on it now. You got a big match in Darby and Jay White. That's a huge match.
Yep.
You're going to have the Mercedes debut. If they did do something like Drew or Ophelia said, and you get another, I think
you had Danielson stare down Ospreay last night.
Maybe they'll be
hopefully they talk about that.
Yeah. Like,
there's that.
Okada.
Kenny Omega got fired from the Elite last night.
Hangman kicked out of the Elite. They were, and again,
so that means we're going to get Okada Omega again.
Yeah. Well, yes, we're going to talk about that right now. Okay. So the Young Bucks cut a promo last night talking about how they were screwed by Sting and Darby, but the thing
both his kids were 6'8", 350 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beating the crap out of me, whatever. But the thing that I liked the most with the Young Bucks was they said, no matter what happened, we ended Sting's career. Like, they were talking like they actually ended his career, even though
they did.
They won. He won. So, like, yeah, he chose to end it, but I just thought that was funny. So Eddie Kingston comes out, and Eddie Kingston's going face to face with the Young Bucks, and they look like they're about to beat up Eddie Kingston. And then all of a sudden, we hear the coin drop. I screamed. And then Okada comes out, and he's wearing a suit. And I saw him wearing a suit, and I was like, oh, Okada's wearing a suit. All right. I didn't think too much. I'm like, maybe
up for the job you want, not the job you got.
But So he gets in the ring, and right as he gets in the ring, I see Eddie kind of position himself a little bit, and I'm just going, because again, I am a very, very fringe. Oh well, yeah.
I
That's a
feel
show
yeah.
proper.
It's so
I
good.
just had to let him out. I think he needs to go outside. So my wife's taking care of that.
I'm sitting there, and again,
He's got to do some big business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a
I think
very
he does.
fringe New Japan pro wrestling watcher. I'm assuming Okada, he's been a heel over there at some point. I'm assuming. I'm not assuming, but I've never personally seen him as a heel. Like, that's not something I have seen. So he's in there, he's wearing the suit. The Young Bucks are wearing the suits, and I'm just like, oh, what? Really? And then what happens. He gives Kingston the Rainmaker, and he aligns himself with the Young Bucks. He is the newest member of the Elite. They do the handshake with his crossed arms and the big smile on his face, and they're pointing at him, doing all that stuff. And immediately I'm like, they kicked Kenny Omega out and replaced him with Okada.
With his rival.
So you know what that means? We're getting Okada and Omega somewhere down the line. We're doing it on AEW. And I love it. I love it. I think him with the Young Bucks is going to be fantastic. This iteration of the Young Bucks with him, oh my God. Yep. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Because not everybody can debut as the face and do that. You have to sometimes throw us a swerve. So why not this one? I was like, oh shit. All right. We're doing this instead.
Oh.
And I'm excited for Okada. I know we're talking Okada Omega, but I'm excited for Okada and Kingston because Eddie ain't gonna let that slide.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And once again, good storytelling. We've seen, Kingston and the Bucks kind of have some backstage interactions the last few weeks. And I didn't think a lot of it, for a long-term storytelling. Okay. And then this, I'm like, all right, that's why they started that. And as far as Okada's debut, we all kind of knew it was coming. It was kind of hinted, the dirt sheets were saying it, but I never thought he'd debut in the fashion he did. And I love it. I know I saw people ripping on it. I'm like, give it a chance. Let the story play out a little bit. You can see this is going to lead to Okada Omega 5. And those guys, the previous 4 bouts have put on matches of the year. And when Kenny's healthy and ready to go, it's a great part of the story. And another wrinkle of the story I like, and I know, JPJ, you hit on this. Hangman wasn't fired, but he was suspended from the Elite. So, and we saw him come out of Revolution as a heel. So when he comes back, he can slide right back in. Or if they want to flip him and make him face if he's pissed off with the Elite, then you got Matthew and Nicholas and Okada, and you could have Kenny, you could have Hangman, and assuming he's healthy and in the right mindset, you could have Ibushi.
I don't know. I wasn't
even thinking about Ibushi.
I like wild card Hangman where it's like the Bucks can't even control him. Like
yeah.
He's just
Swerve made him literally go insane.
Yep.
Yeah,
like he literally
unhinged,
turn into a crazy person.
Still? Yeah.
And we saw that, dude. He beat the crap out of that second official.
Yes,
he literally just openly assaulted that.
Hopefully, that guy got hazard pay, dude.
Oh my word, it's unbelievable.
Jesus.
But I'm I feel, and I think a lot of us do. I feel very optimistic, and I know I'm not a big ratings guy, Tanner. I don't know if you guys.
I'm not either. I mean, we see the numbers. We don't talk about it though.
Yeah, we don't either. And I know people were the diatribe earlier. Okada debuted and they did under. I don't give a shit.
Yes.
All right. I watch wrestling because I enjoy watching wrestling. Obviously, I would love more people to watch wrestling because more wrestling and more wrestling fans is good for the thing I love. Yep. I don't give a shit how many people were watching Dynamite last night. Sorry.
Yep.
The bottom line is I was watching it and I had a pretty damn good time.
Yep. 100%.
And then, that's how I view it.
Yep.
But I am feeling very, very good about AEW right now.
I am too. I thought they hit a reset button kind of to start the year, but I think this is their official reset button with a new look at Dynamite, new logo. I'm assuming Collision is going to kind of stay the same because it's different anyways in his own way. And man, I mean, you bring in Ospreay, you bring in Okada, Mercedes is coming next week, and we've kind of hit on it. Britt Baker's on the shelf, Hayter's on the shelf, Adam Cole's on the shelf. I go on. They got a lot
Kenny
of
Omega's on the shelf.
Kenny Omega's on the shelf. They got a lot of talented wrestlers on the shelf on top of these new stars coming in, on top of their already loaded roster. And I feel like if they keep on this direction, I mean, the buzz is really back for the first time since 2021 with AEW.
Yeah. It feels like that. It feels like that. We have Drew in the chat saying Hangman should return to AEW TV with a disturbed version of his entrance theme.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Is he down with the sickness?
Down with the sickness, man. Hey, that Stone Cold version with Disturbed, very good, underrated.
It is underrated. Yes,
it is. It is underrated.
If for the first time in a while, just to put a bow on that, like there was a point there where it's like, oh, if I missed the Dynamite here or there, I was like, oh, I can catch up. But now it's back to like, if you're not there on Wednesday night, like, who knows what's going to happen? And it's cooking, man. I'm psyched. I'm pumped for it. I know they're going to it's going to take them some time to get back some of those fans that they probably lost when the Punk stuff, and then just some of the, the people that were like, oh, I don't really like this as much as the alternative, but they'll get there if people just keep letting them kind of cook. And Tony refines it a little bit. It's still, like you said, with the ROH, it's still kind of all over the place. Like, I'd really like to see you define, like, okay, like ROH having them on is cool, but let them do ROH stuff. Let's really hone in on this Dynamite and let these people, because these are the people that everybody sees the most.
And I think they're getting smarter, through trial and error on where they're booking shows, what venues they're booking shows, what towns they're making sure they don't hit too often, because I think that's what they were doing for a while. And they need to do better at marketing to the local area of those shows. And I think they're starting to do that because, I know WWE's hotter than ever right now. They're breaking attendance records all over the place, selling out, getting great money through the gates. But WWE can be a pretty expensive ticket to take the family to. If AEW can price themselves a little bit lower to where maybe it's more family for the whole family to go to, then you can blow them away with the action. And so the next time you come to that town, family's got to go no matter what. So they can, they're starting to get smarter with that, I think.
I agree. And like I live in the Boston area. I think this is like the 5th or 6th Dynamite come in my neck of the woods. So I live in an area where I've been lucky enough to see it. And I have heard more radio commercials on my drives to work and my drives home to work about this Dynamite next week. Than I have for any of the other Dynamites that have been here. And we had the second ever Dynamite.
This just in. You listen to the radio still?
Yeah, I listen to sports radio because I'm obsessed with how terrible half my teams are. So, amen,
brother. I'm right there with you.
I'm a Patriots guy. I'm a Red Sox guy. It's hard times,
baby.
Man. Hard times.
Hard times.
Yeah, he's got the Cody shrine. You guys know how big of a Cody mark I am. I've been screaming about Cody not winning last year's Rania for a year.
God,
I don't want to get you into it. I don't want to get you into it. He's going to win it this year, damn it. And if he doesn't, I might never watch WWE ever again.
I'm right there with
you. I think I would be the closest to.
What's going to be worse, too, is you'll be there. You'll be there.
I'm going to be there. I'll leave.
Awesome.
I mean, it's the last match. I'm going to leave, obviously. But I'll be like, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm not watching. I'm out. If that were, listen, I will just say on record, if he does not win that title this year at WrestleMania, that will be the closest I ever come to saying I'm done with WWE. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it ever.
If you never leave the stadium in protest because Cody lost,
everyone's going to be leaving. It's going to be the end of the show.
But you'll stay out of protest.
Yeah, well,
you'll never leave.
He wouldn't be the only one. He wouldn't be the only one.
My seat, and they'll be like, "You got to go." I'll be like, "No, I got to talk to Hunter."
The show would have
get Paul out here
because you now
what
live.
What the hell was that, Paul? That's what I would say. What was that? Your old man who had no clue was here last year for that decision. He ain't here anymore.
What's your excuse?
What the hell was that? That's what I would say.
Are you that mad about him breaking your throne?
And really? then he gets arrested, and then Beards effectively ends. But then we get this really fun, like short-lived run where I do like the Chelsea Green auditions for co-hosts.
Before they built it to, and I guess then we have the last couple of minutes before we start plugging our shit. I know. Before they built it to what it is, and now The Rock's a heel, and we're getting the tag match, and then whatever. When they did that thing on that Friday Night SmackDown, I wanted to break my television. I was sitting there, like, I think I went on Twitter, and I was just like, "Go fuck yourself." I think I said something really bad, like, "Go after yourself."
They still haven't explained it.
And I was like, "I can't do it. I'm not doing this." Luckily, they've kind of fixed it to a point where I actually think it's actually entertaining. Like, I like kind of what they're doing. So they bailed themselves out a little bit. I don't know. They're going to pretend that was the plan the whole time. I don't know if it really was, but they fooled me enough to make me believe it could have been. So whatever. But in total, what have you think? I know you watch AEW more, but what have you thought about, The Rock kind of being the heel guy that we've seen and kind of You're a big Cody guy. How do you feel
Yes.
going into Mania as a Cody fan that we're going to kind of actually see him finish the story?
Yeah,
Are we?
they have to. Even though, last year it was the ultimate swerve. I'm still pissed about it, but I think last year we all thought, okay, chips are lining up perfectly. Cody's winning. There's no way. So when they pulled the swerve and Roman came, I was like, oh my god, like, wow, I guess anything could really happen. But this year it's got to be. If they don't, I know he's the hottest thing in WWE. He's the face of the company, but if you don't, you're really teetering with the audience is gonna get so pissed they're gonna lose interest in his story.
Yeah.
And then so when you do pull the trigger, it's not gonna matter as much. It's got to be at Mania. It's got to be the biggest wrestling event of the year. And I was so in a weird mindset when the whole Rock Cody Roman thing first went down with the original plan, because The Rock was my guy growing up. That was my guy. I mean, I had periods I kind of went in and out of wrestling. He got me back in 2011 when he came back to
Hollywood Rock, baby.
Yeah, it was actually the awful WrestleMania 27 main event between Cena and Miz. But he was as a host, and then he and Cena had the once in a lifetime, which turned into 2 in a lifetime matches. Yeah. So he sucked me back in. But then I was almost done with. You were talking about, if they don't pull the trigger with Cody, you might be done with WWE. That's where I almost was in 2018 before All In captured me. It brought me my love back, and then AEW, and then I was more diehard than ever now. So I see The Rock come out. I'm like, man, that was my guy growing up. He's the one who got me back into wrestling in 2011. But Cody's my dude, and this is not right. This is not go away, Dwayne. Love you to death for any other time, but not right now. So I'm glad it has played out.
Put some respect on his name. It's Diarrhea Dwayne.
Diarrhea Dwayne.
I don't think that one will last. I don't know if that one's going to last.
But if I have to put out a prediction, I do think Cody dethrones Roman night 2, but I think Roman and The Rock win night 1, because I think it makes Cody go through yet another hurdle of the bloodline rules.
Now, are you
to win the title?
Dustin says his prediction is for WrestleMania night 1 that Priest makes an appearance during the tag match, teases a cash in, and costs Cody and Rollins the match, making night 2 bloodline rules. I definitely think it will be bloodline rules. They wouldn't throw that stipulation in there for it not to happen, in my opinion. And like you said, I think that just is, the reason why he lost last year is he didn't have enough adversity. Well, guess what? All right. Guess what? I think he's had enough. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think he's had enough. Guy had to win a back-to-back Royal Rumbles, for crying out loud, and you still tried to take it away from him. Anyway, do you think The Rock becomes involved? I'm sorry. I'm going to be pissed forever.
That beard.
I'm from Boston. When we're pissed about something, we're pissed forever about it. That's how we do it.
I'm all about getting them views, baby.
Hey, whatever. It's working. It's working. Do you think The Rock becomes involved with the decision on night 2 to, a lot of people are saying he's doing the one like this. He kind of looked in Roman's direction when he said, I'm going to guarantee you don't live. Everyone thought he's talking about Do you think The Rock screws Roman and then we build to Rock and Roman at SummerSlam or even next year's? Do you think he becomes involved as well?
Yeah, especially with bloodline rules. If Cody and Seth go over night 1, I don't see him get involved in night 2, and they'll have to figure out another way. But I definitely think Roman Rock's going to happen eventually, especially with Rock being now on the board of directors of 2 TKO and having a lot of power. It should have probably happened last year, and then this year should have been Cody's first shot, and first and definite shot, but is what it is looking back on it. But yeah, I think it's safe to say, especially if Mania is in Vegas, which I know Minneapolis thinks they're getting it, but Vegas is a rumor too, especially if it's in Vegas. Rock Roman for 41 makes a lot of sense.
It does. And you got a year to build it. Roman's part-time. Rock obviously isn't going to be there for full board. There's just a way to build it with both these guys kind of not being there and then showing up occasionally.
And it doesn't need the title. That's the thing that always bothered me.
Never did.
I'm like, this damn thing doesn't need the title. Makes it stupid. It makes it even more predictable than ever before.
But it looks a lot cooler with the title.
They kind of did it when it was Roman and Jey Uso.
Yeah.
To become the head of the table is more important to this story than being the undisputed champion.
Yes.
That match, if the belt was in it, they're not fighting for the belt. They're fighting for head of the table. And that diminishes a title that Roman's had for 1,100 days, whatever the hell it is.
But Roman can't be head of the table without that belt.
But he can't. But is that
But that's why he's thinking the way that he's thinking now because he's had that belt for so long. Again, I don't think you're wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate because it'd be terrible
And
sports
again,
radio. It'd be Boston sports radio if we all agreed all the time.
No, it's true. It's true. It's not. I mean, not all of it. Not all of it. Most of it. The people that call, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But anyway.
First time, long time. Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Red Sox management sucks.
That's my favorite.
Hate him as God.
I went to school for radio and broadcasting. Like that's what I want. I wanted to be one of those guys on sports radio. Yep. That's what I wanted to. That's what I want. I still want. That's what I want to do. But it's always my favorite. Like when they're always like, all right, yeah, we got 5 minutes of calls. We got to be quick. So, all right, we'll go to PLUGGO in Weymouth.
Hello.
What's going on? And he's
PLUGGO,
like,
you there?
The guy's like, first time, long time. Love your show.
No.
And then the hosts are just like, yeah, what do you got? Come on, let's go. I said, be quick. They're like yelling at the, oh my goodness.
Or it's the guy that comes on and goes, yeah, I got 3 questions here.
I got 5 points. Let me get to all of them. I'll be quick. You got, how about 2, buddy? How about
my
5?
favorite?
It ain't your show.
He's not the greatest guy in the world, but Jim Rome would always be like, have a take, don't suck. And the second that they hesitated, he'd be like, boop, see ya.
See you later.
I always thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
But really fun episode tonight. Tanner.
Yeah.
Great time.
Yeah, guys.
We'll have to do this again.
Yes, please, anytime.
We will have to do this again.
Great.
This was a lot of fun talking some AEW Revolution and a little WWE, but AEW. But before we all get out of here,
we talked it all tonight.
I know we did. We talked some. Yeah, you let me go on a 10-minute Red Sox rant. Get me out of my system, so I wasn't screaming to myself after the show.
Getting you warmed up for the season.
Exactly. Just really feeling it. But let the people know where they can find you, where they can follow you. Tell the people what you got doing over there.
Yeah, if you want to follow me personally, I'm at TannerLee92 on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays. I tweet mainly about AEW and then my favorite sports teams. So if you want to come follow me along and see me vent about my teams and vent about AEW at times, praise AEW, please do so. Please follow the Kicking Out podcast. We are at Kicking Out Pod on all social media. That's Facebook, X, and Instagram. And also please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We go live every Sunday night at 8:30 on those 3 platforms, Facebook, X, and YouTube. So we primarily stick with AEW. We do go down rabbit holes from time to time. We do talk a lot of Cody Rhodes, especially with Mania season heating up. So please give us a follow. We'd really love it. And can't thank you guys enough. This was a blast.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
PLUGGO, do your thing, my man.
And try to follow that. Jeez, he's good. He's good.
That's a pro.
He's a pro. You can find me at PLUGGO _ on Twitter or X at PLUGGO on everything else social media wise. You can find what we got going on here on Beards at B2Beards across all social media platforms. We have a pretty cool guest next week. We'll stay tuned to socials. That's a tease in the business. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Blair and I are back talking independent wrestling on 4 Exposure. I think we're going to be breaking down some GCW. The IWS card from last weekend was nuts, so we're going to chat about that. Shout out to Big Ben Wortman's that massive hog carrying son of a bitch. I love you. But yeah, that's where you can find me in the meantime. So JPJ, send us out.
Yeah. You can find me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. That is X, Instagram. I do have a YouTube page. Give me some love over there. And on Twitch, we stream games, mainly sports games. We've been playing a lot of WWE 2K24 this week. MLB The Show comes out next week. So we have a lot of fun over there. For all our new friends that are here and in the chat, this is the first time we've gone live on X tonight. So for all our new people, give us a follow at Love Wrestling CA on Twitter, on Twitch, right here on youtube.com/Love Wrestling CA. Go over there. We also have a wrestling company attached to us, LPW, where we run shows the last Friday of every month on IWTV, and we're really good. We're really good there too. So for all our new friends here, give Love Wrestling some love, but give all 3 of us a follow and some love as well. We appreciate y'all being here Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. with my buddy Drew Nicholas, who was in the chat tonight. We do a show strictly about AEW called Firmly AEW. So we'll be diving into reviews of Dynamite and Collision, and obviously we'll be talking a little bit of Revolution.
I'm not watching this week. What? Drew's not going to sing.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm gonna
Jericho
watch.
had to win. Jericho
I'm
had to
gonna
win.
watch, but
If
I
Jericho
would
won,
rather
Drew
he
was going to
sung.
sing Judas live. That's what was going to happen. But obviously, Jericho didn't win. So
I'm still
it
gonna.
is what it
tune
is.
in.
I think in the long run, we're all better for it. But yeah, give us some love, Tanner. Honestly, you fit in like a glove, my friend. That was a lot of fun. This was
You
a
guys
good
make
time.
it easy. You guys make it easy.
We'll have to do it again very, very
Yes,
soon.
please,
You're
anytime.
welcome anytime. Open door policy. Everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging in. We appreciate you so much. Hey, maybe look at that's a tease. They're gonna call a tease right there. Sunday morning, it's 10 a.m. Drew might be singing something else. But for everyone else, say hi to Sue, and we'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace out, everybody.
Diarrhea Dwayne.
Hey there, PLUGGO and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue, and I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. You know, get a grip. You have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you two beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves, or I'm going to cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer going to get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Oh, or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for being fans. Watch yourselves. Knock it off.